Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Words to live by this morning. If you lend someone $20 and never see that person again, it was probably worth it. And last but not least to think about this morning, never, ever buy a car that you can't push. Good morning, everybody. Zeb Bell. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. On a Monday morning, I got crackles in the headset again, Gina. Good morning. Oh, my. Good morning, good morning. I don't know if it's the moisture in the ground or whatever, but we're getting a real crackly reception from the station this morning. So, Gina, if you could check that out for me, I'd appreciate it. Good morning. I'm Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and all 7 great locations, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley. And last but not least, our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them, get on the route service today, 734-6969. Here now, Miss Fix-It. Here's Gina.
I will try and fix it. Everything is fine here, so I'll just kind of monitor.
Yeah, I think everything's going on the air okay, but
yep.
The feed line to me, for some reason, whether it's the pod over there or what, I'm getting a real crackle.
Everything's fine. All of my levels are A-okay, so yeah. I don't know what it would be. So,
but I only hear half of every word.
Huh.
And that's not good.
No, it's not.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Had a wonderful weekend and ready to get back to work, as it were.
Well, did you do anything outstanding, earth-shattering, or newsworthy?
Let's see here. On Saturday was a busy day. I had son for the weekend, so we went to Hands-On and we painted some pottery, and then we went to the planetarium and saw the Sea Monster show, and then I took the boys out to the Rupert Elks for the Stockman's Feed on Saturday night, and then yesterday we just kind of took a Sunday drive and then ended up bowling.
Well, for heaven's sake, Sea Monster.
These sea monsters, yeah.
One of the guys I graduated from high school was accused of being one of those. Rather obese person he was. Jumped into Lake Mills our senior year in high school, and everybody thought, oh my gosh, the Loch Ness Monster! Well, old Frank was just not a small child.
Oh, too funny. But yeah, it was a great weekend, and I heard you made a feat over the weekend.
I did something I wasn't supposed to do. I did it, and I'm so glad I did it because now I'm going to keep on doing it.
Good.
Okay,
I like that.
Do we have a pledger?
We have Mr. Al Butler on for the pledge and Michael Rogers on for the weather.
Very good. Al, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb.
Good morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, my friend.
Do you want some more rain?
I'd love to have some more rain.
Well, I'll go wash both outfits tomorrow.
Okay. All right, Al.
That's what happened before.
I remember that. You told me that. Well, listen, we need more moisture, but we're getting some good moisture. God bless it, and thank you for your call this morning.
Have a good one.
Thanks, buddy. Right now it's time for the weather. Michael Rogers Weather. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. It feels like spring as it started early. Well, the reason why I'm saying that is because temperatures are going to be in the 50s all week long. We've got milder temperatures all week with sun and clouds today and tomorrow. Just rain on Wednesday. Overnight lows are going to be rather comfortable, too, but it's still not going to be like the true spring. But you know what? We're getting closer. and we're getting closer, and pretty soon it's going to be really nice outside. So enjoy the day and enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. MichaelRogersWeather.com. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. I don't really even have to have an ad or anything with their address on it because I know them so well. I've been taking my clothes in there for years and years and years, even before they started on the program. They are absolutely the best. They'll take your old rumply crumplies and turn them into looking like they're sitting on the showroom floor at a clothing store. They're brand spanking new, you think? Well, by golly, they do the job. Excellent. Daryl's Cleaners, Kevin, Cindy, the whole crew, 1223. Yeah, see, I don't need the copy, but I messed up the address. 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Out of memory, 878-8900, the number to call for the best cleaner around. Daryl's Cleaners. Thank you very much. Also, as you know, I rely heavily on the internet, and I rely heavily on my lovely wife to help me, and boy, we've got the best with SafeLink Internet. Idaho's number one choice for wireless high-speed internet is SafeLink Internet, the fastest internet speeds, period. They really do the job. They'll do the job for you, too. All you have to do is call, get on the program, 677-8000. That number again, 677-8000. Nice people, great folks to work with, super installation, and believe me, if there's a problem, they'll take care of it. At SafeLink Internet, you call them today. We are going to start something a little bit new this morning. There's so many friends that we have in this area that I just want to acknowledge some of them, some of which have maybe done a lot for the community, some of which might be not feeling very well and under the weather health-wise, and we're going to start acknowledging people. And if you've got someone out there in the audience that you want us to give a shout-out, good morning to, just send it to me. If you know somebody that might not be feeling very well and maybe we can do a little cheery for them here on the program, let me know. And this morning we're going to tip our cup of coffee and our hot tea, whatever, to Cordova-Goff, a wonderful lady, love her to death, Lorna Arbogast, always there to help, and Carl Clark, you will not find a better man than Carl Clark, and Betty Martin. And I've had a chance to work with Betty on various projects, and those four folks are just wonderful, wonderful people, and they deserve a special good morning. And so we're going to call our choir in right now, thanks to Gina, and we only could bring in half the choir this morning. And I think that a good shout-out, good morning to those folks is worth also a couple of hallelujahs. Gina, if you would, please.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Very well done, thank you. Now, in just a moment, stay tuned, because we're going to be giving away 2 Zeb at the Ranch steak knives if you can answer our question of the day for President's Day, okay? Stay tuned for that. I want to remind you about Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, have they got light bulbs? I mean, they're coming out of their ears with light bulbs, and they want to make sure they find a new home. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. This government control and regulation is just really teeing me off, telling us what we can have in our house, what we can't have in our house, what we have to have for lights, what we can't have for lights. Well, Ramsey Heating and Electric bought a whole bunch of incandescent light bulbs in the 40, 60, 75, or 100 watt, and they're going to sell them to you so you can, for a long time, kind of just wave the fickle finger of fate at the government, and that's the way it should be. Don't be told what to do. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers and a lot of light. All right, give us a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Real quick, also, I was reminded here this morning, I had a telephone call from some really dear friends of mine. And they were talking about how the rodeo season is right around the area, right around the corner, as a matter of fact. And a lot of folks that gear up and go to a lot of horse shows, man, they're getting everything ready to go. They're checking their tack. They're making sure they got everything all ready. And if their tack's a little worn out or they need something new, the place to go is Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. I know, after talking to Steve and the whole crew, they've got what you're looking for right over there. And if you're hauling your horse and you're stalling your horse, you've got to know that they've got all the pine shavings, everything right there at Valley White Home and Ranch. Super nice people serving you for everything you need for the farm, the home, and the ranch. Valley White Home and Ranch. You get a hold of them today. Here is the question. Now, what's unfair about this situation, I can see Gina all of a sudden warming up the computer to get the answer on this. And but I'm not going to let her play. She knows that because she'll get the answer. The first person that calls me at either 436-2244 or 1-866-927-4587 with the right answer to this question. What two presidents were, number one, who was the tallest president ever in the history of the United States, and who was the shortest president ever in the history of the United States? And what are their names? Who was the tallest? And who was the shortest? Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm giving away a couple of really, really nice Zeb at the Ranch steak knives. You will like these, I guarantee it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I wasn't really calling to answer a question, just to say thanks. That was so very nice.
Well, you are a very nice lady. You're a very well-deserved lady, and you do so much to help us and everything, and I think you should get a special shout-out. Good morning. So, Lorna, thank you.
Well, good morning. I will maybe give an educated guess on those.
All right, go ahead.
Abraham Lincoln for the tall one. Must not be.
I'm not going to say anything.
And I don't know, Grover Cleveland for the short.
Nope, I'm sorry, but nice try this morning. Thank you so much. God bless you, Lorna. Thanks.
Bless you.
All right, thank you much. I'm not going to say a word till I get the complete answer. I'm just going to sit here mum. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant. Oh, our next lunch bunch is coming up on the 27th, Thursday the 27th, and you can go in anytime, all the time, every time you get hungry. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Oh, they're so nice. Waiters and waitresses are so great. And if you're a senior, show your AARP card, 15% off on the bill every day, every day. Oh, my goodness. You're going to love the food. Thomas and the rest of the folks really put forth an effort for our lunch bunch over there, and we're looking forward to it again on the 27th. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them this morning. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Lincoln and Hamilton?
No. I'm sorry. Nice try. Nice try.
So we'll call back.
Okay. All right, let's see who else can call in. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Good morning, you're on the air. Talk to me. Good morning.
Abraham Lincoln's the tallest and James Madison's the shortest.
Holy cow. And, all right, now I'm going to put you on the spot there, Miss Know-It-All. How tall was Abraham Lincoln?
6 foot, I don't know, I'd have to guess. I know Madison was like 5'4".
Who is, this voice sounds really familiar, and I think it happens to be a relative of mine.
I don't think so.
Who is this?
Tori Peterson.
Tori, your voice sounds just like my daughter Toby, and I would have bet $100 it was Toby on the line, but your name is Tori Peterson, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Tori, where are you from?
Rupert.
All right, you are the winner, and I'll tell you what, you were so darn close. Abraham Lincoln was 6'4", and reverse the numbers and take one away, and James Madison was only 5'4", the tallest and the shortest presidents we ever had. And next Thursday, Tori, on the 27th, I'm going to be over at Denny's Restaurant for the lunch bunch, and I'll have those steak knives there, and I'll leave them there in a box for you, okay?
Hey, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. My goodness, that voice sounded just like my daughter. Tori Peterson is the winner. And James Madison and Abraham Lincoln. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Honest Abe. I got a subject this morning I really want to get into and get your opinion because it just makes me so upset. I want to find out what you as parents would do or how you would act. Okay, stand by. Don't forget Cordell Sheridan. Cordell's coming off the hill for his 19th annual bull sale March 1st at the Burley Livestock Auction Yard. He's going to be selling 70 head of really good bulls, Gelbvieh, Angus, and Balancers. And I'll tell you what, this man and his family have been known for a long time with the best of range-raised bulls. I'll tell you, they've had a lifetime producing this herd, and their weaning weights are usually about 650 pounds or better. This is going to be on March 1st at 1 p.m. at the Burley Livestock Auction Yard. Don't you miss it. Sheridan Ranch 19th Annual Bull Sale. It's going to be great. Best of cattle and the best of people with the Sheridan family. All right, here we go. I want to get into this morning because I want your opinion on this. This is one of the most over-the-top stories that I've had a chance to, it's not a chance, it's not an opportunity, it's almost makes me sick. A so-called wrong-gendered boy in California, his name is Pat Cordova-Goff, 17 years of age, and this kid is a big, strapping senior at Azusa High School in Azusa, California, about an hour east of Los Angeles. And he says that he is a girl trapped in a boy's body. Now, I'm looking at a picture of this kid, this punk, and he's got arms on him to where he looks like he could be an arm wrestler or any kind of an athlete, and that's exactly the problem. This kid claims because he thinks he's the wrong gender, he can play on the Azusa Girls High School softball team. And he's got lawyers behind him, he's got a lot of money behind him, and he's going to force the issue. That's right. And he played freshman baseball when he considered himself a boy, but now he considers himself a girl, and he wants to play on the girls' softball team. So now here's my question to you as a parent. Would you let your daughter play on the team, the girls' softball team, or in protest because of this absolute sham, this disgrace, would you have basically a protest against the high school, against the relaxation of the rules, and also because this is so absolutely ridiculous, would you tell your daughter, no, you're not going to play on that team? What would you do? Give me a call and let me know. Officials for the Azusa High School said parents of students and others have been somewhat supportive of this kid coming out for the softball team. What would you do as a parent? Are we going to draw a line in the sand and say enough is enough? Somebody believes that God made a mistake and they're the wrong gender. They're going to go and apply to play on the girls' basketball team. We've seen that happen already. And now this kid says, oh, I'm actually a girl, even though I'm a boy. I've had an epiphany, and all of a sudden I understand that, oh, I've been born in the wrong body, so I should be on the girls' softball team. When are we going to say enough is enough of this? And don't hedge on this. Don't run away from these comments. I want to know honestly, you as a parent, would you say to the school then, okay, fine, my daughter will not play. We will not support the athletic program if this kind of sleaze is going to happen. One of the comments that came in from a man in California says, it's intolerable of this young man to not accept an equal standing of the girls playing girls. And he said it is categorically unfair to biological girls to have to compete with a sexually confused young man with stronger upper body strength who makes the game decidedly unequal. Give me a call. Don't chicken out on me on this issue. I want you to give me your opinion. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, Don't forget Sportsman's Warehouse with old Reese and the rest of the crew at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin. Oh, my goodness sakes. Listen to this big Customer Appreciation Day sale. It goes all the way from the 19th through the 23rd. And with this annual Customer Appreciation Sale, you get 10% off. Yeah, on that next camping, hunting, or fishing trip. 10% off on all your needs. And don't forget, you're going to find a huge selection of rods, reels, sleeping bags, tents, binoculars, everything 10% off. Customer Appreciation Sale from Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. You stop in and see them today. Let's get some calls in here. Come on, don't weaken on this subject. Yeah, I know it's a little sleazy, but it's well worth the conversation. Would you as a parent tell your daughter, nope, that's it. You're not going to compete on this team. It's an embarrassment to the school. It's an embarrassment to the team, and it's also not fair any which way or other. Please give me your call and let me know what your thoughts are. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Gee whiz, if I'm not going to get a call on this right away, and I thought maybe people would be brave and stick their voice on the phone. Gina, what are your thoughts on this?
I would not let my daughter play. I would transfer her to a different school or to a different team.
I think it's despicable.
I wouldn't let her play.
I think it's despicable.
You know, I don't know how to say this gently, but, you know, for this confused boy who, as a freshman, played on the boys' team, and now he's a sophomore, maybe a junior?
He's a senior now.
Oh, he's a senior?
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, I think this is just a political stunt.
This,
my gut feeling is telling me political stunt.
It's not only a political stunt. I totally agree with you because they've got lawyers and they've got money behind them for the pushing of this lawsuit. But I think this kid ought to be rushed immediately into psychotherapy and, really have some psychoanalysts that'll help him understand that there is no mistake. You are what you are.
Yeah. I completely agree. And if I was a parent at this particular high school and they said, okay, well, we're going to allow this gender-confused boy to play on the girls' softball team, I would automatically pull my daughter out, and either I would send her to, put her in a different team, or just entirely pull her out of the school and send her to a different school. That would support my moral standards.
Here's another quote from a gentleman by the name of Randy Thomas, and president of SaveCalifornia.com. He said, "This mixed up, in-your-face, cross-dressing agenda is pushing more parents out of California public schools, which now have 10 sexual indoctrination laws leading children astray."
Yeah, it's like you said, there are no mistakes in life. And so I honestly think that this is just kind of a publicity stunt, maybe to get the boy, something. I don't know, but this does not feel right.
Oh, I know.
If he's a senior now, and and he's obviously played sports.
Oh, yeah.
Freshman, sophomore, junior year. Why now?
Okay, now here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to the website, Fox News, and look it up. It came across on the website. I'm trying to find the date as I'm reading. It came out on February 14th, Valentine's Day, and it was written by Perry Shiramonte, and the headline is, "California's Transgender Law Allows Male High Schooler to Make Girls Softball Team." I want you to look it up while I do the break at the bottom of the hour. Look at the picture of the senior boy and tell me that he doesn't have arms, forearms, and biceps like he could play any sport, and it's totally unfair to girls' athletics. Look it up. Okay, I'll do this with Travelube, and then we'll have the Capital Press. Don't forget Travelube Supply. They've got all the bolts you need. That's right. They got the metric and the standard bolts, and they got bolt bins, too, for your shop. Travelube Supply, 1050 West 203 south of Hayburn. Oh, my goodness. They've got all your filters. They've got the bubble ropes to pull you out of the mud and the muck. They've got everything, and they've also got a bolt bin route service. They go around, have bolts, will travel. They'll keep you filled up for this spring. You better believe it. Travelube Supply, 438-8730. Time now for the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
The value of Idaho agricultural exports in 2013 reached a record level for the third straight year. Exports totaled $979 million last year, a 6% increase over the 2012 total of $922 million. According to Idaho Ag Department data, exports to the state's top 4 destinations for farm products rose in 2013. Ag exports to Canada totaled $188 million, a 2.4% increase. Exports to Mexico totaled $172 million, an 8% increase, and they reached $105 million to China, a 7% increase. The 2013 increase in Idaho ag sales abroad was led by the dairy category, which grew 16% to $314 million.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West's Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and capitalpress.com.
All right, thank you very much. On the Mondays, at the ranch, your calls will be welcome and appreciated. Let's check with Gina. Gina, did you get that information I gave you?
I did. Well, on the website.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm looking at the story here. Boy, he's got makeup in this particular photo. But,
yeah.
You know, wow, this is a big boy.
This is a big boy, and I don't mean fat, obese, or anything like this. I mean a very muscular boy, a senior at Azusa High School. Now, this is absolutely where somebody has to draw a line in the sand, and even to the point, and I mean this when I say this, even to the point of saying, okay, if this kid, this it, that doesn't know what gender he is, even though all he has to do is look, wants to play on the team, we're canceling the sports program. Well, you know, somebody's got to stand up and say something about this.
Yeah. Well, apparently a lot of people are on this particular website, but,
yeah.
You know, they need to be making their voices heard to the school district and to the, state and county officials. Because I don't think that this is right, and apparently he was a cheerleader.
Yeah, and then if you look at the story, though, he also played freshman baseball. And when you look at the build of this kid, he's not exactly one of your frail little Hail Mary types, let me tell you.
It's not. He's you look at his picture, and you can tell that, he's got, and he's not fat by any means.
No.
He's just muscular, and I'm going to assume that he's a little bit on the tall side, too.
Yeah, and it's absolutely like one of the quotes that was in this magazine or this story. It is categorically unfair to biological girls to have to compete with a sexually confused young man with stronger upper body strength. How true. Good morning. Do we have a call?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. My opinion of that is he isn't so much interested in sports as what's in the locker room, and his big eyes are Googling it out.
You know, Helen, I can't say because I don't know. I don't even understand this kind of thing, but I'm certain that they would have to make extra allowances to use another locker room just for this it. And but to me, it just sets our society, a tone for our society that we shouldn't go there. God does not make mistakes. There are men, there are women, and I am absolutely, I'm in such a pathetic state of mind over California and especially Azusa High School going and buying into this. This kid is a senior in high school, and all of a sudden it hits him that he's the wrong gender?
You're just like me. God doesn't make mistakes.
Amen.
It's that idiot's brain.
Oh, I tell you what, I'd cancel the whole stuff. I'd cancel all the programs in protest of this kind of thing happening in the school. I think it's detestable.
Well, what else is happening in the school? It's just like it says in the Bible. What's right is wrong, and what's wrong is right.
There you go. That's very well said, Helen, as always. God bless you.
Have a good one.
Thank you for your call. I appreciate it.
Bye.
I'd like to hear what the other people have got to say. Parents, come on. What about parents of high schoolers? What would you do if it was your daughter on the softball team? Really, would you just kind of sit back and say, oh, well, gee, okay? Or would you say, no, we're going to protest this. We got to draw a line in the sand for decency sometime. Or have we gone past that line in the sand and anything and everything today is acceptable? Call me, 436-2244. I just thought I'd have a ton of phone calls with people voicing their opinion on this, because this is, in my opinion, as low as it gets. Hey, Eli and the folks over at Barry Equipment and Rental, we're going to start talking about tractors, and they've got a few remaining Bobcat tractors, and they got a 35 horsepower with a loader, Oh, I wished I had this for just $15,950, and also a cab 40 horsepower tractor with heat and air for $26,950. These are really nice tractors, and they've got a lot more of them with financing available at Berry Equipment and Rental. You call them. These are good folks. Berry Equipment and Rental, 2 locations, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin. Call Eli, or call over there in Burley. Great new location, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 678-7368. Berry Equipment and Rental, serving you. You know, you never know what's going to push the button on your listenership, and what people are going to call for and what they're not. But I would have thought, especially in a conservative area like this, more people, more parents would have public outcry against a young man. He's not a boy. He's 17 years of age, and he's a big kid. He's a young man. All of a sudden coming out at Azusa High School and saying, no, I don't think I'm a boy anymore. I think I'm actually a girl, and I'm going to sue and get lawyers and everything and demand that I can play on the girls' softball team. What kind of a world are we living in? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, I disagree as far as counseling the school sports and what have you. I think they need to have a bunch of God-fearing people run against if the school board allows this to happen, they should be all kicked out. I think we need some decent people that run for office, so this kind of crap will not even be an issue. And as far as that young man goes, I agree with your last caller that he's not as mixed up as he thinks he is. I think he's looking at the girls also.
Let me ask you a question. You bring up a really good, valid point, caller. Go after the school board, the superintendent, and everything else, and possibly do recalls on their election, whatever. But in the sake of time to let the public know and let the school know that this is not acceptable, I myself would tell my daughter she couldn't play on that team.
Oh, I wouldn't let my daughter play on that team. But I think we also need to go ahead and try to recall or I think it should go statewide. I think same as Idaho. We've got the state election stuff coming up, and I disagree with all of that. And if Idaho, I know there's certain things I've heard about where they're pushing things through, and Idaho needs to be on their toes. I was talking to Scott Becky yesterday, and he said that Idaho, Utah, and perhaps Texas is the only 3 states that are not going to cave to the same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
And if we do, I think we should vote every last one of them out.
Well, I'm totally on your side, sir, and we can stand here shoulder to shoulder, because you got to draw a line in the sand someplace. Why is it today that the things that you and I grew up with, knowing right and wrong, black and white, and the Bible and what it taught us to be good, God-fearing adults, why is it today that we're throwing all that away and we're allowing a crossover of the lines, and we're sitting back and we're not standing up for anything? We have got to draw that line in the sand now, whatever the issue is, whether it's on gay marriage, whether it's on this high school kid, this boy that wants to play on the girls' softball team. You got to draw a line in the sand soon, because decency is almost dead.
Yes, I agree. I think that a lot of your schools and communities, they don't want to take on the issue. We have too many lobbyists or people with the money to back the lawyers, and I, you don't want to start me on lawyers. Anybody who would take up this kind of garbage and fight against God and good people, I don't respect at all. Just, for make a name for themselves or for a little bit of money.
Amen.
Anyway, it's sad that people can't, stick up for what is right and what is wrong.
All right, sir. Well, I gotta ask you before you leave this morning. Have you got a little puppy there with you?
Yes.
What kind of a dog have you got? What kind of a dog do you have?
Pomeranian.
Well, it's a lively little dog.
Anybody in it.
Okay. Thank you for your points. I appreciate it. Thank you much.
Okay, thank you.
That Pomeranian wanted to get on the radio and was doing a pretty good job. I'd like to hear what you other people have said. Now, there's been some courageous people call and state their opinions, and I do agree with that, man, that there should be a concentrated effort for the parents that really care about their daughters and about what kind of a sexual fiasco this would be for that softball team. Go to the school, demand the resignations of the superintendent, the principal, and the school board. This is asinine. But you know something, folks? Seriously think about this point. This story comes out of Azusa, California. But it can happen here. It can happen in Minico. It can happen in Burley. It could happen maybe out at Raft River. It could maybe happen in Murtaugh. It could happen in Twin. It could happen anywhere. We need to be very, very well prepared and very organized in our thoughts as to what we're going to do if it happens in our area and how we're going to put our foot down, or are we? Or are you just going to sit back and let the sleaze take over? And that's what this is. I mean, I feel sorry for the girls. Not only for the girls on the team, because of the embarrassment factor to that team and the name of the school, etc., but I feel sorry for the girls on opposing teams. I really do. Because I know you're going to say, well, it's only one person, it's only one boy. No, maybe down the road it might be two. Maybe it might be three. You know, the invasion into other sports by men and women is ridiculous. They have the LPGA, but yet many ladies have tried to blur the issue and try to play in various golf tournaments with the men, which I think is totally wrong. They've got their own basketball league, and there have been many that want to blur the issue and try to file suit and play in the NBA, which I think would absolutely be ridiculous. There is no way in the world that you're going to find a woman, any woman, I don't care if she's an Amazon that stands 7'1" and weighs 290 pounds, it's going to come up against somebody like LeBron James and not get smeared right to the court. This has got to stop. This has got to stop. And the idiocy, and there are idiots around here that believe in this, and I'm going to call them what I think they are, for saying like girls should be wrestling boys. I don't really have too much respect for their IQ. Give me your calls. I want to hear what you have to say. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It's time for a weather update, and the weather update this hour is brought to you by Butte Irrigation, 116 South, 600 West of Paul, and another location just a little bit north of Kimberly, right there at Red Cap Corner. Oh my, they serve all your irrigation needs, and the bywords are correct. They'll get you wet. Bryce and the rest of the crew, they know irrigation at Butte Irrigation. And Paul and Kimberly, here's Michael Rogers weather.
Hey everybody, Michael Rogers of MichaelRogersWeather.com. You would think it was springtime with our weather forecast this week. What am I getting at? Well, temperatures are going to be on the mild side. Going to be in the 50s all week long. The rain on Wednesday, sun and clouds today, and also for tomorrow. It's going to be right around mid-50s, 57 is a pretty good number. 56 for tomorrow, and then you got rain, and temperatures are still going to remain in the 50s, but you're still in winter. You're almost to spring, but you're still in winter. So enjoy the weather, enjoy the day is the only weather you got.
All right, thank you very much. MichaelRogersWeather.com, brought to you by Butte Irrigation in Paul and also Kimberly. They will get you wet. You get a hold of them today. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, real quick, before I get some more of your calls coming in here, the 15th annual chili cook-off and free chili feed is going to be February 22nd at the Magic Valley Tires in Paul, Idaho with Smilin' Max and the Twist family. If you want to make a chili that's in the contest, you got to be there by 10:30 in the morning on the 22nd. They're going to have the judging at 10:30, and then the big feed starts at 11. They're also got delicious cinnamon rolls, and cash prizes to the top 3 chilies. Oh, my. You better call Amber at 438-8444. 15th Annual Chili Cook-Off and Feed at Magic Valley Tires on the 22nd. Going to be a lot of fun. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I hear your mic.
Yeah. Actually, I just wanted to make one final point on this topic. And actually, my brother called me, and he was like, he told me this. And if you look at it, it's kind of true, where the schools are actually blending the lines between biology and sexuality.
That's right.
Now, biologically, this kid is a boy.
Yep.
But due to politics, they're bringing sexuality into the high schools and forcing us, parents and students, to put up with somebody's sexuality, even though biologically they're on the other team.
Well, would you agree the terminology that started about 9 years ago, the unisex society, that's the main key that they're working on here?
Yeah. There is no unisex.
That's right.
I mean, maybe in literature and, in vocabulary, but when it comes right down to, the physical human being, there is no unisex.
I find this
male or female.
I find this as a father and also a grandfather to be so despicable and so disgusting that I honestly believe that something has to be done. There has to be a public outrage. There has to be a line of demarcation, a line of drawn in the sand. Gina, you've got to eventually stand up for something or you'll fall for anything, just like the Aaron Tippett song. Mm-hmm. And this is a situation where people need to stand up and they need to say, no, that's enough. I'm sorry, but the school board, you're toast, administrator, you're toast, coach, everybody, this is not going to happen. This is a girls' softball team. This is an admitted pervert that thinks he's a girl. He's a very stocky, well-built senior boy that wants to play on the girls' softball team. Ain't gonna happen.
Exactly, because biologically, he's still a boy.
That's right.
They put him on the boys' team.
That's right.
Make him try out for the boys' team because he's a boy.
There you go. This is beyond the pale. Okay, I got another story I need to get in here, too. A family in Minnesota. Now, listen closely to this one. A family in Minnesota, the dad and the mother of this family, they bought an 11-acre lakefront property years and years ago. Beautiful little place right on the lakefront. And it's within the town area. And the dad and mother both passed away. The dad was the last one to go, and he willed it to his daughter and her husband. So they took over the property, and they're living there, very happy to be in the house and the beautiful lakefront property on the 11 acres and everything. All of a sudden, the city comes calling, and they say, we're taking your property in eminent domain, because we're going to take it under condemnation for a lakefront hiking trail. Now, the husband and wife naturally said, no, you're not. And they put up a fight. And finally, after a long and lengthy arbitration of give a little, take a little, give a little, take a little in the court system, the husband and wife said, okay, tell you what we'll do. And then you leave us alone, and we'll leave you alone. We will give you 2 acres for the hiking trail down by the lake that goes from the property on our left and our property on our right, and you can have your hiking trail. And we'll keep the other 9 acres, and we'll stay right where we're at. The city said, no, we want all your 11 acres for a small mini park right there, and we're going to condemn it through eminent domain. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not America. This is not the way that eminent domain should be handled, used, or forced. This is ridiculous. I am going to try to get this husband and wife on my program, and I'm going to try to, I saw them on television this morning at about 4:30, and I'm going to try to get them on my show and find out more about this. But can you imagine living in their home, paying their taxes, doing everything just right, and all of a sudden the city comes along and says, no, we won't take that 2 acres. That's not good enough. We want everything. We want your home. We want everything to turn it into a little mini park. What do you think about that? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I'm waiting for your calls that I know are coming in. Don't forget the great big Founders Day celebration at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Wow. In honor of a great man, Mr. Les Schwab. He was a great man at the headquarters up there in Prineville, Oregon. And believe me, they've got at the Les Schwab Tire Centers the best tire value promise in the industry, the best brake value promise, and oh, do they do a nice job on brakes. They've got all the tires you could use, and as a matter of fact, they've got great buy on passenger car tires, some starting as low as $39.99. All of this and more during the Founders Day celebration of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The very best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember that skit years and years ago? I can't remember who it was that done it, but it was inch by inch, step by step.
Yeah, wasn't that the Abbott and Costello routine?
I think it was, yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's just what the government's doing. Inch by inch, step by step. They're taking our rights, our personal property. They're taking everything away from us, Christianity, everything.
Well, and I can't argue that because in the last couple of days, I mean, the thousands and thousands of regulations, new regulations and new rules that are going through. And right after the State of the Union speech, Obama and his henchmen, they released, I think there was like 4,200 new regulations that came out into the public. But the condemnation through eminent domain of a person's property, this is such a heinous attack on private property rights, Doug. This just makes me furious.
It does. It's terrible. I mean, so some guy has a farm, and some city officials or county officials or some corrupt people that bought some county officials off say, well, we need that farm so we can build this and this and this, so let's just go condemn it, and he can't do anything about it.
Well, you know, this family is fighting it, but there's only so much money, as you know, to fight the other side with legal fees.
Well, and this is true, and there should be, it'd be nice if one of the legislatures or somebody put a law in there that when the government comes after people for eminent domain and to take their rights and stuff away, they should not use our money that we give them to fight us.
Yeah.
They should have to supply their own.
Well,
their pocket.
I'm going to stay on top of this story because, like I said, it can happen to you, it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. And for them to just basically condemn underneath the guise of what's good for the public and come in and condemn this, and then you tell me, Doug, if the family was willing to give a 2-acre parcel, which would have gone from, let's say, east to west across their property, which 2 acres would have given them more than ample for a hiking trail, etc., to conjoin with the other properties. But no, that's not good enough. They want all 11 acres with the house taken down and everything for a little family park or a city park. To me, that reeks of nothing more than we got you and we're going to get you.
Right. You know, and some of this went on down at Twin Falls along that canyon rim. Guys that owned that property for years.
Yeah.
And then they come along and wanted a hiking. I mean, everybody out there with property and a house, and you got a backyard, you know, that you have your family gatherings in, you go out and enjoy the evening, a beverage of of your choice in the evening. Who in the heck out there would like to have people walking through their damn backyard?
Oh, and look at the liability factor. Look at the liability factor if they go off the beaten path or it's not fenced in or whatever. Not only to the property damage, but also if somebody falls in the water. Well, actually, that's your property, so we're going to sue you. I mean, it's absolutely scary as to what they can do. I got to run, Doug, but I appreciate your comments as always. Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, sir. Hey, Cameron Siemens Insurance. Don't forget Dean Cameron Todd Siemens. And life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more to make sure you're protected. That's right. Make sure you're protected. Don't leave it hanging out there, beating in the breeze someplace, and you go, oh, my goodness, I forgot to check on it. We'll call today, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. You get a hold of them today. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, this story I got to get in real quick. Did you hear over the weekend, and I want Gina to get on the line here real quick. Gina, are you all right by your microphone?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, did you hear about the Democrats are coming out from underneath a rock with a brand new tactic to promote Hillary Clinton? You know what it is?
Oh, I haven't heard. But
they've got Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and they've got a whole bunch of them, like Schumer and these others coming out. And if the Republicans say anything about Hillary and her past, or the way that she handled things as Secretary of State, or didn't handle things with Benghazi or anything, or criticize what happened during the Bill Clinton campaign, now they're hanging the sexist tag on any and all people that go into Hillary's past because they say that's taboo and she should be left alone.
Okay, so I'm a woman, but yet I would be considered sexist because I want the person to be completely vetted.
Yeah, they would come out and probably go after you and say something really vile and sinister about you because you're criticizing Hillary. Basically, the Democrats are saying it's above and beyond the pale to criticize Hillary because she's had such a rough past. Leave her alone. It's nothing more than being sexist.
No, we've all had a rough past, so get over it, and it's not that we're being sexist, it's because we want to know the truth.
Amen. Amen.
Time for a quick phone call?
I'll take one call in 1 minute. That's all you got, caller. 1 minute. Go fast.
Yeah, Zap, I was on the computer last night, and I see where Obama had given Afghanistan $90 billion to rebuild their country.
Yep.
Well, our boys died over there to protect them people.
Absolutely in vain.
It is insane. I can't believe it.
Absolutely.
Here, they're taxpayers' money, and we're going in debt all the time. And here we're throwing that money back into that country.
Actually, Fred, I've got to run to the news, and I'm going to comment on that a little bit later on this morning. Thank you for your call. I got to go to the news real quick. Thank you. Thank you.
You bet. Bye.
And Fred is right. It's not just $90 billion in cash that we gave that money. We've literally given Afghanistan probably close to over $1 trillion. And not only that, with the blood, sweat, and tears of our soldiers, our men and women, and this little Hamid Karzai standing there and just thumbing his nose at the United States. Wouldn't you, like I said last week, like to have just 2 minutes in an 8x8 room and give him a real personality adjustment? I'll be back in 6. Oh my, good morning. Welcome back, hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. Kind of a cloudy day outside, but this is President's Day 2014. I'm Zeb Bell, and welcome back with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers that include Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always the Georgia struggle. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at Georgia struggle. Western Waste Services.
Oh, my goodness, they are always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, don't forget, providing quality service to the entirety of Magic Valley, not only with the route service, picking up your garbage, but also with the porta potties. And also, they've got these new Go Minis. Yes, portable storage units for everybody. You're going to love them. All you got to do is just find out the information from calling 734-6969. Western Waste Services, at your disposal always. 734-6969. You give them a call today. Really nice folks. Also, talking about nice people, have to talk about my dear friend Joel Heward and his staff over at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-5636. You know, every life is worth remembering, and every life and family deserves the best possible support and comfort, always with the highest ethical standards and unquestioned integrity. That's why I talk every day at this time about Hanson Mortuary with Joel Heward at 710 6th Street in Rupert. They want to serve you and your family, and all you have to do is just give them this call at 436-5636 and get a lot of the pre-information on pre-planning funerals to help alleviate a lot of the stress and worry for our families. Call them, please. Hanson Mortuary, 436-5636. It's Monday, and it's President's Day, and I'm going to see if old Frosty knows the answer to this question that we asked in the first hour. Frosty Woldridge, how are you this morning?
Good morning, Zabel. Always a pleasure, sir, and happy President's Day. And I certainly want to honor first President George Washington, certainly John Adams, and then, of course, Thomas Jefferson. Three great men who led this nation. I've read all of their biographies, and wow, it was a heck of a beginning. And of course, some of the greats from that point on were Teddy Roosevelt, whom I've read his entire biography, and just the man was indefatigable. What a tremendous voice for America, and all the greats along with him. It's just an honor to honor all these great men. And actually, I want to also honor the women that stood by them, the wives that made this country as great as it is. And so we do have it's an honor to honor the great presidents and their wives and the people who have carried this country forward. So it's an exciting day, actually.
All right, now I'm going to put you on the spot. You're an old teacher, and you should know the answer to this question. I asked it in the first hour, and we had a lovely lady call with the right answer. In history, our American history, who was the tallest president we've ever had, and who was the shortest president we ever had?
Yeah, well, I think it was definitely Abraham Lincoln was 6'4" or 5.
Right.
And so he was the tallest that I know of, and the shortest was it Garfield?
No,
not Garfield. Oh, it was. I know Madison.
You just said it. There you go.
He was 5'4".
Yes, Madison.
5'4".
Yes. There you go.
So guess what? This boy keeps up on his history.
And you know what you just won? You just won another of a matching set of Zeb at the Ranch steak knives.
So I can use it for my tofu. I am so honored.
Oh, Frosty.
Thank you very much.
Hey, listen, I want to ask you something. Under this Obama, you got to admit, and I think you will, that of all the presidents that we've ever had in the history of the United States, this guy is the biggest and best snake oil salesman. If he was in the Old West traveling in an old rickety wagon with a sign on the top that said snake oil, he would sell out in every town. Everybody buys into his philosophy and his ideology, and they think he can walk on water. In 4.5 years, here's what I want you to respond to. In the last 4.5 years, our economy has only grown by 2.4%, and they love the guy. How come?
It's amazing to me. As a matter of fact, for those of you who will appreciate this, Barack Hussein Obama could not pass E-Verify right now if he was going to go for a job in the American workplace. When the historians write the story of Barack Obama, it is going to be very interesting what he did to us and what we did to ourselves, and especially the fact that 51% of the voting public actually voted him back in for a second shot. Mm-hmm. But it is going to be an incredible story when it finally gets sorted out, and we're all going to sit there and shake our heads as to what happened to integrity, what happened to the presidency, what happened to our Constitution, and it's going to be very interesting. And when that book is written, and I expect to be around to see it, it's going to open up a can of worms like no one has ever seen or heard as far as the scandal of the presidency of the United States. So
I agree.
That's going to be interesting.
I agree. We have a caller with a question. Go ahead, caller, please, quickly.
I have a comment. You know, our president should have been working for Burger King. He's the biggest Whopper teller there ever was.
All right, Jerry, thank you much. Appreciate that.
Big Whopper. That was very good, you know, and whether it's Benghazi or Fast and Furious or Social Security card number or sealed college records or sealed personal life, and very few know that he was absolutely had to resign as his law license in Chicago because of his some of the unscrupulous things that he was doing. You know, this is all going to come out in the history books because there will be someone who has the investigative power and the power of the First Amendment to finally expose all of this, and you don't get away with it forever because history is going to come down on you, and so that it's going to come down on him, and that's what's going to happen. But absolutely, snake oil salesman, a person. I mean, when he got into office, 36 million are on food stamps. 36 million Americans so poor they can't feed themselves, they can't get a living wage job, that they are feeding off the rest of the taxpayers. And in the time that he's been in office, these almost 5 years or whatever, this man has gotten now 48.1 million Americans on food stamps. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, but that doesn't work for me. When you go back and you look what Clint Eastwood did at that one thing with Mitt Romney, said that we got an empty chair. Well, we've got an empty chair with empty leadership because it's not working, folks. It's not getting the American people back to work. It's not taking care of our country and doing just sane, rational decisions to get. We used to be the biggest creditor nation in the world. Now we are the biggest debtor nation in the world, with an $18 trillion national debt. I'm sorry, none of this stuff has been solved in the last 5 years, and it looks like it's not going to get solved in the next 3 years. So, you know, it's almost like I can't wait for the next 3 years to pass. I'll be 70 years old, but at least I'll be free of this particular man in the White House.
Frosty, you just said something I want to elaborate on. You said living wage jobs. Let's stop right there and define this a little bit. You and I both agree, we're entirely on the same page, that with unlimited supplies of people coming across our border illegally, and also with an amnesty program basically saying, howdy, welcome here, 12 million plus what's going to come across the border in the future. What is going to be a living wage job in a country that can't support what we have already, and the new jobs are not there?
Well, again, that's why the middle class is not going to survive this thing. You and I and all of us that work are going to have to put in more hours to pay for all of these people, both legal and illegal immigrants that are going to flood into this country, well, in excess of 100 million of them. You know, it's funny, Zeb, one guy, I was on a show, it's called KGAB, the Morning Zone in Cheyenne, Wyoming this morning, and I'm on every Monday morning also. And one guy said, well, Frosty, how do you know there's going to be 100 million more immigrants? And I said, that's exactly projections. And what he did say was, you're just a fearmonger. You're just throwing all these numbers up. And I said, excuse me, I am a math science teacher. The Pew Research Center, which is a tabulation center that knows and works and studies and these demographic experts tell us that we're going to add 100 million immigrants. The U.S. Census Bureau also tells us we're going to add 100 million of them. And, of course, the U.S. population projections tell us that we're going to add 100 million more immigrants. And so these are the facts. And these are the facts based on the current immigration legally coming into this country, their birth rates and the chain migration rates. Those are facts. Those are statistical, verifiable facts that what we're going to add to this country. And I said, you can call that fear-mongering, or you can call it just plain math. So my question is, ladies and gentlemen, do we want to add 100 million more immigrants to this country legally and expect to sustain our civilization and sustain the middle class and sustain our ethos and our American way and our language? And, of course, the answer is no. We're going to be fractured and diversified into the point where we're not going to have any cohesiveness as a nation. And I spoke back to this guy. And then 3 other callers came in and they said, thank you, Frosty, for clarifying, because I am not a fearmonger. I am a numbers guy, and either you could be fearful of those numbers, which you actually ought to be, or you can say, let's change course, let's do something. And that's why each week when on the show, I ask you all to empower yourselves and join capsweb.org, CAPSWEB.org, numbersusa.org, and, of course, FAIR, FAIRUS.org, and make sure that your voice is heard in Washington.
Frosty, when you look at the infrastructure of America, and you and I have talked about this many, many times, and since Obama took office, there's been a lot of money that was taken as stimulus money to go to various areas and provide an impetus to increase the roads, the bridges, increase the housing, etc. It came out this morning that only 10% of that money has been used to help rebuild the country's infrastructure, and the other 90% of it, nobody seems to know where it went. And we're no better off today with our tax dollars that went to this program than we were 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Well, that's correct. And let me bring your attention to the fact that we've spent about $1 trillion in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yes.
And what has it gotten us? A lot of dead kids in caskets and absolute destruction of both those countries. And it's amazing to me that you sit there in a goat herder country like Afghanistan. We still have about, I think, 50,000 troops over there in Afghanistan. That might be 70,000. I'm not positive at this point. And what have we accomplished? And, of course, the answer is we've accomplished nothing, absolutely nothing. And all these tax dollars you and I have paid for you could take $1 trillion and we could have rebuilt our infrastructure and our sewer systems in our big cities that are collapsing. Some of them are 100 years old. We could have been building bridges and roads across this country. But instead, this president and the last president embroiled us in 2 wars that absolutely have nothing to do with anything, and especially since we've got Barack Obama, or what's his name, Osama bin Laden, over a year ago.
Yeah.
Why didn't we just pull out then? There's no reason to be there in Afghanistan. And so, and I've talked to several colonels where I work out, and the money that's just being burned over in Afghanistan, just being tossed away, that's yours and my hard-earned tax dollars. And so the frustration is there's no accountability, and we're not seeing any accountability in the Congress, and we're certainly not seeing it in the accountability of the President of the United States. And that is just what we're facing right now, a lack of leadership, a lack of integrity, not only on the President's side, but all of these senators and House reps that are not standing up for the American people. And that's the reason why our borders are not secure, and that's why the 12 to 20 million illegal aliens are still working and thriving in this country at the consequence of our own workers at a living wage. It is beyond frustrating.
Well, and look at, you just mentioned Afghanistan. I want to pursue that just with you a little bit. Here is a little bitty 5'6", weighs probably 125-pound punk, Hamid Karzai, as the president, now playing both ends to the middle so he can help support the Taliban and take our money, and he turns loose 65 terrorists that have had American blood on their hands, and we sit back and do nothing. I said this first hour, you give me just 2 or 3 minutes in an 8x8 room with Hamid Karzai, and I could give him a complete personality change.
Well, and that's understood, and that's the farcicalness of this whole thing. What is the Congress? Why are the House reps and why are the senators of this country tolerating a little scumbag of a Hamid Karzai who steals our money because we give it to him to steal? There's no accountability here, and he's a puppet, and he's not leading anything, he's not doing anything, and yet the President of the United States, who you would think would have a brain, who would have common sense, rational thinking, and deductive thinking, say, you know something, we're not doing anything over there but just burning money up and getting our kids killed because of all the internal shooting. You know, there's no more any longer any training of Afghan troops because they're shooting our own men. They're shooting our own Army and Marine troops over there because they're all a bunch of crazy people in that Islamic nation, which has been at war and will be at war long after we're gone. So, yes, it is extraordinarily frustrating that we have such leadership that is allowing unbelievable corruption of our money and loss of it there in Afghanistan.
Well, you've touched on it, though, and the state of Colorado, and I want to get into this a little bit with you this morning in the time remaining. The state of Colorado has been, and I'm not sure you're proud of this, leading the charge on the marijuana issue. And I said the other day on my program how absolutely idiotic it is that if you light up a Marlboro at a cafe, you'll get thrown out on your ear. But you can walk next door to a marijuana business in Colorado, in Denver, and light up a marijuana cigarette, and they'll leave you alone because it's legal. This is idiocy, as far as I'm concerned. I'd like your response.
You know, the whole thing with the marijuana thing is from a standpoint of just reasonableness. Obviously, 400 to 450,000 Americans die from lung cancer from smoking every year, still, right now. And there are millions upon millions who are getting stoned and have been getting stoned every year. And I guess in the final analysis, because we've put 37 million Americans since 1971, the war on drugs, into prison and literally ruined their lives for smoking a doobie. And I have to land on the side of my brother, who's a former cop, and you've interviewed him. It makes more sense to legalize something that's being smoked and so forth by everyone and actually hasn't come up to kill 450,000 people every year because of lung cancer. My thoughts are that let people, if they're going to get stoned, they're going to get drunk. It's no different. Getting drunk or getting stoned, as long as they're in their own home and they're not going down the highway in a car, the most reasonable thing from my point of view is to let them get drunk and let them get stoned as long as they're doing it responsibly in their own home and if they want to alter the state of their mind and so forth. And I don't drink and I don't smoke and I don't do drugs. So that's my choice, but I certainly don't think they should be arrested and thrown in jail.
Yeah,
so that's kind of where I.
But you would agree with me that right now, and I take the other side of the fence. I don't believe in the legalization, and you know that, and we could have hours of discussion on that. But the ambiguity of what's going on in your state of Colorado is absolutely, it's sickening to the point where if somebody smokes a cigarette in a bar, they could get, the bar could lose its license, and the man could get arrested. But he can walk down the street and go to a marijuana location and light up and smoke there. That's what I'm saying. The ambiguity is so ridiculous right now in this country, it's pathetic.
Well, and I agree with you. The ambiguity is ridiculous, Zeb. And the key is that Colorado is working its way through this thing because actually smoking marijuana, if you were going to make it any kind of an offense, it should be a civil offense, not a criminal offense. Because booze is the same way. You can't make people drinking booze a criminal like in the Prohibition times. It's a civil offense if it was going to be any offense at all. And so we're working our way through that particular glitch, if you will. And the wheels turn slowly to catch up with the citizens and what they're doing. And the same thing happened with Prohibition. The same thing's happening with marijuana. And so that's kind of where it is right now.
All right. Well, I tell you, we could go on for hours and have a good debate on this. And I welcome it some morning when we have more time. Listen, it's almost spring training. As a matter of fact, it is. And it's time. I've got it in my notebook here as they head off to camp, the Colorado Rockies and my Chicago Cubs. Any fearless prognostications for another lousy year?
Yeah, they're both undefeated, so we're really we're right up there at the top right now. I suspect that that the Colorado Rockies are going to be a mediocre team again this year, and I think where the big teams are is where the big money is. Whether it's New York or Boston or whatever, and it really gets down to who lucks out with the biggest horsepower, who got the biggest hitters, the biggest bats. And it depends on how a owner can spend his money and a coach can cajole each one of these players, because in the end, the richest teams have the richest players who make the most hits and the most home runs. And that's not happening for the Cubs right now. It's certainly not happening for the Rockies. And so we'll be sitting on the sidelines here come next October, is my estimation of this year's situation.
Yeah, but you used one word. You used one word that isn't fair. You said that your Rockies will be a mediocre team. That's still not fair to me, because the Cubs are going to have to climb a long way up the ladder even to achieve mediocrity.
And we may be cheering in vain, but it is the hope of baseball.
Okay, buddy.
Get out there and, what was the old baseball, by Casey at the bat? Oh, my gosh, I love that great Casey at the bat. We have the joy of that. We have the energy of that. We have the hope of Casey and the Cubs and the Rockies and the Yankees and the Angels and you name it. Everybody hopes their team wins, and we do too, and it's going to be fun watching.
All right. God bless you, man. Have a great day. I'll send you another Zeb steak knife. I know you can't wait. Have a good day. See you next week.
And my tofu can't wait to have that Zeb steak knife cut into it. So you bring it on, boy.
All right, Frost. Take care. Appreciate it. Frosty Woldridge, Golden, Colorado. Dear friend, thank you very much. Oh, Sportsman's Warehouse. Are you aware of what's going on over there? They're having a great big customer appreciation sale. That's right, their annual sale. You stop in and just yell for Reese. Hey, Reese, what's going on? And he'll tell you, my goodness, the 19th through the 23rd, they're having a great big spring appreciation sale. That's right. And it's going to start this week. Don't miss it. And it's going to go all the way through the 23rd, 10% off on what you need for camping, hunting, fishing, all the rods, reels, sleeping bags, tents, binoculars, sporting scopes, shoes, boots, everything 10% off at the annual customer appreciation sale, starting this week on the 19th at Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Wow, I love shopping there. I just love shopping there. Last week we were telling you about our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, and we were telling you they're going to have that great big President's Day sale today, as a matter of fact. Today is the President's Day sale. They're open today. They're open Monday today, and they've got 6-month interest-free financing. Oh, you better check it out. They've got 3 different classifications of carpet on sale. Good, better, and the best. And vinyl floors. My goodness sakes, they've got all your love seats. They've got all your sofas. They've got everything. You better stop in today. Make it a point to maybe have a little brunch and then stop into the big President's Day sale today at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. They're waiting to serve you. Gina, my dear Gina, may I have you get on the telephone with me just a moment?
Yes, sir.
As you may or may not know, we have had, I guess because of President's Day, we did not get a guest with the Alliance Defending Freedom.
Yeah.
And so if you would contact that other guest number, I would certainly appreciate
She's
it.
already on the phone.
Gina, you're just too darn good. Wow.
I do my job well.
Do your job well, my goodness sakes. You're like a human computer. You think ahead. Oh, my goodness, I'm proud of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. You betcha.
Appreciate that. Wow, she's good. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, we have with us on the telephone a young lady by the name of Jasa Fillmore, and I believe you're one of the ag teachers and FFA advisors for Burley High School. Is that right?
That's right.
Well, this is a big week for you because there's a lot of kids around the state that are wearing blue for National FFA Week. Is that right?
That's right. It is National FFA Week, and we've got some
exciting events at Burley High this week, and there's going to be kids all over the state and country celebrating as well.
All right. Now, Jason, give me a little background. I've had the opportunity in years past to speak at the big conventions for FFA. Greatest bunch of kids in the world as far as I'm concerned. They've got their ducks all in a row, and they really know where they're going. Let's start with you first and foremost. How long have you been an ag teacher and an FFA advisor?
This is my 5th year as an ag teacher and FFA advisor. I grew up in south of Twin Falls and went to Kimberly High School and participated in FFA there. I decided to be an ag teacher after I went to one of those FFA conventions my sophomore year. I thought that would be something I'd be good at, and it turns out I was right. I went to college at University of Idaho, taught in Grangeville in northern Idaho for 3 years, and then I've been here at Burley for 2.
All right. Now, since you've been a high school student and looking at the FFA program, have there been some major changes in that period of time?
Major changes. I would say the biggest change I've seen is just more kids that are not from a farm background getting involved.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see a lot more kids that grew up in town, maybe had no agricultural background, get involved in the program, and I think it really helps the organization because the majority of people that are consumers today are not from a farm background. So if we can get the insights of those kids and be able to use their knowledge and expertise to talk to their family and talk to their friends and promote agriculture, I think it's a really good thing.
Jason, let me ask you, from when I was in high school, which was years and years ago, there was almost kind of a stigma. There was almost a stigma that there were 3 classes in the high school. There were like the athletic jocks, and then there were the nerds, and then there were the FFA. And you know, over the years, I have come to appreciate that the FFA has the greatest bunch of students and a compilation of very, very smart young people. Also, some really great athletes involved, also with the FFA. And when it comes to being all around kids, I think the FFA doesn't have to take a back seat to anybody.
I think that's pretty much spot on. We've got kids that they have full-time jobs in the summer and is making as much money as some people that work the whole year round because of their work ethic and initiative. We've got kids that are athletes and kids that are in drama and music, and I think the FFA really makes kids well-rounded.
What about the FFA today? With the National FFA Week, what are you trying to promote? What are you trying to tell the public about the FFA, especially during this week?
I think the biggest thing is that we are the largest student organization in the whole country, and these kids know their stuff. The mission of the FFA is to promote personal growth, or premier leadership, personal growth, and career success. I think some people today are not too interested in career success. They want to sit back and take a back seat, but our kids know how to work. They know how to get stuff done, and we need to let everyone know that these are the kids that are going to be future employees, and they should support the programs in their local high schools because we're training tomorrow's leaders.
You know, right there, you said something that are key words. These kids know how to work. Jace, you know as well as I do, and I'm not trying to be negative here, but it's a truth. There is a major push in this country by the liberal left to make sure the kids don't work on the farm, they're not around livestock on the farm, that they stay in the house and play with the computer or whatever. That's the furthest thing from reality and what should be happening, because these are the most well-rounded kids that have a work ethic that are really going to keep this country afloat. Would you agree or disagree?
I agree perfectly.
How do we maintain that, though, with all the liberal left and the absolute stupid thinking that's going on with certain segments of our society that don't want kids involved in it?
I think one thing we could do locally or on a statewide level is make agricultural education mandatory at an 8th or 9th grade level. A lot of the students that we get in that aren't from farm backgrounds, they don't have parents that were in FFA or grandparents, and so they think they kind of hold on to that stereotype, well, I'm not an ag kid. But if they, accidentally get into an ag class because of scheduling, those are the kids that they learn the most because they don't have preconceived notions. They can actually learn the most and do something with that knowledge. So I think one thing we can do is make agricultural education mandatory.
Okay, now that leads me to another question, and you'd know this as an advisor and also an ag teacher. Has the country, the United States of America, lost sight of where their food comes from and also the respect for the American farmer?
I think so. I think, in some segments of society, especially rural communities, we're still hanging on to that, and with efforts by like Dodge with their God Made a Farmer commercial during the Super Bowl, I think you're seeing a little bit more of that, but I think as a whole, yes, our country has lost sight of the fact that food is grown on the farm by hardworking Americans, and it's not just purchased from a grocery store.
So what kind of specialty items or special events are taking place this week that you and Burley High School are going to be a part of?
This week, our officer team and our advisors are planning a big celebration on Thursday. So we have a traditional drive your tractor to school event. So last year we had about 30 tractors. This year I think we'll have a little bit more because it's not snowing. Well, at least it's not snowing today. But we have kids drive their tractor to school, park them in the parking lot. We serve a freshman breakfast. So all the freshmen in ag class get served by the upperclassmen. We host a big luncheon with all of our supporters and sponsors, and we invite all the teachers out, and then all the FFA kids get to come out and have lunch. And we kind of finish the day with a weld-off and give the kids in our shop classes an opportunity to compete. We have industry judges and pick the top welder for the year.
Okay. Now, may I ask you a question right there? Is there also an invitation for local businessmen that perhaps are so wrapped up in their urban activities of maybe they sell furniture, maybe they sell hardware, maybe they sell whatever, and they really don't know that much about farming? Wouldn't this be an ideal example for them to be invited to this to know more about ag and have the kids tell them face to face?
Oh, yeah, we would love to have them come out at any time on Thursday or give us a call at the high school, and we'll let you come into one of our classes or see some of our students in action. So, yeah, that would be great. And if we do have any supporters or sponsors listening that have contributed to our ag program this last year, please come to our lunch on Thursday starting at about 11:30.
Okay, now, is there also, pardon me, because I don't have the schedule in front of me, it hasn't been sent to me or anything, but during this National FFA Week, is there also a big to-do in Twin Falls at the CSI campus?
That's in April. Our state FFA convention is in April.
I see. So that's coming up in about another 45, 50 days then, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, with everything going on at Burley with your classes, are you seeing more involvement? Are more kids coming to you and asking questions and more people trying to get in your classes? Give us a little background on that.
My experience between the two high schools I worked at has been very different. In Grangeville, if you know anything about Grangeville, almost every kid lives on a farm, and so that was a lot different experience than I have had in Burley, where I would say at least half of the kids that are in my classes are not from a farm background. But I think through the FFA, a lot more kids are becoming interested. For example, I had a student this year that she has been around agriculture. She rides horses, so she's not a total stranger to the industry, but she wasn't too excited about being in ag. She ended up in my agricultural biology class as a 10th grader, and I have kids participate in the agri-science fair in that class, so they design and conduct an experiment and put together a paper and a display poster about their research. And her project took her all the way to the National FFA Agri-Science Fair in Louisville, Kentucky this year.
Wow.
And she and her dad both came on this trip, and by the end of the trip, she just said, Mrs. Fulmer, I did not really know about this whole FFA thing, but it's just way bigger than I thought. And I think through the FFA, kids' eyes are opened through experiences like that. And now she's enrolled in another ag class this semester, and so FFA is that kind of motivation and gives kids opportunities that they wouldn't have otherwise.
You know, a couple of years ago, and Jason, I know you're familiar with what I'm going to get into here, Al Gore made some not so illustrious conversation pieces regarding kids getting involved in ag and reasons for not getting involved in ag. If you had a chance to meet face-to-face with people like Al Gore that are naysayers, what would you tell them?
First of all, I'd bring some students with me because I think that nothing speaks louder than, actual proof right in front of you. So I think I don't know how anybody can live with eyes open and not see that the agricultural industry is alive and well, and that there's so many opportunities for kids. I was able to put myself through college on scholarships. I didn't pay a dime of my own money because I was majoring in agriculture, and there's so many supporters of that. They're offering scholarships to get kids involved. The placement rates from universities for agriculture students. Any kid that wants a job pretty much has one. Even out of high school, students that choose not to go to college, they've got those skills coming right out of high school, whether it's shop work or knowing how to work in the greenhouse, the horticultural industry, leadership skills they wouldn't have gained otherwise. It's just, I don't see any other way other than to show them the proof with the students.
When you look across the United States and you talk to people perhaps in Indiana or maybe people in Wisconsin or maybe people further back east, even maybe North Carolina, to various chapters of the FFA, what about the organization nationwide? Is it growing in popularity or is it a status quo?
I think with the introduction of a lot of the agricultural sciences, it is growing. I've been part of a national effort called Curriculum for Ag Science Education, and it's giving teachers the training and the tools they need to teach those science concepts in an agricultural context so that students actually understand why fertilizer makes plants grow. And I think having that science background really gives them, an extra step ahead, because they can not only do it and apply it in the field, but they know why, and they can make wise decisions based on that science background. So I think because a lot more ag programs are teaching agricultural science, it's grown from my point of view.
Well, Jace, you're a mom and a teacher and a housewife, and don't you believe that the media in general, radio, television, and the newspaper, is really slanted against American agriculture, and we need more people in FFA, I think, to become more outspoken and attack the media and become a part of the media so that really the truth is put out in front of the American public. Don't you agree?
I agree. I think it's probably just history and background and upbringing, but it seems like the agricultural industry is one to sort of stay quiet sometimes. And I think some of the training we can give these students in high school now is how to be an advocate for agriculture, and that's the whole focus of my freshman class is how to be an advocate for agriculture. So around Thanksgiving, I bring up things like the undercover animal rights organizations that go into turkey processors and take footage, and I show that to students and say, how would you talk to someone about this and tell them that not all agriculture is like this, or maybe it's just the way they shot the film that it comes off as bad. But I think teaching kids how to be an advocate is really important, and a lot of ag teachers are doing a great job with that.
Absolutely. Anything else before I let you go about FFA and what you're doing at Burley High School? You've got the floor. You can wrap it up. Go ahead.
I would just like to thank anybody in our community that has donated and supported our great big new building project. We've grown so much at Burley High that we've constructed a whole new facility, and it's almost entirely done with public donations, or private dollars and donations and in-kind work from people donating their skills. And I think that's a testament to how important people think agriculture is in our community. In other communities, I would just encourage those adults that maybe came from the FFA program that are alumni, get involved. Ag teachers are really busy people. We have, hundreds of students to worry about on a daily basis, and sometimes we don't have time to go out and ask for help. So if you have something you can offer to an ag program, please go find the ag teacher. Just tell them you want to help, and your help will be graciously received.
Okay, Jason, how old's the little one that's at home with you right now?
I've got two. We don't have school today, so both my girls are home, and they got to sleep in, so they're liking it.
And they're kind of molesting mom right now, aren't they?
Yeah, I told them I had a quiet meeting, and they didn't know what that meant.
No, that's fine. I want to say thank you so much, Jason Fillmore, ag teacher and advisor for the FFA at Burley High School. You did a wonderful job. Here's what I'll put out to you. Any of your top students or yourself or anybody else that wants to come on any time representing the FFA from Burley, you're more than welcome.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you taking time this morning to speak with me.
All right, thank you very much. God's blessings. Have a good day. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Very nice lady right there, Jason Fillmore, and she is one of the FFA advisors and ag teachers at Burley High School, talking about FFA, and they've got a wonderful, wonderful organization right there at Burley High School. Calls are welcome and appreciated, and for the next 10 minutes or so, we'll take anything you have, like if you've got a bunch of complaints or you got something that's eating on your craw, just give us a call, and we'll listen real quick to MichaelRogersWeather.com and be right back.
Hey, everybody. Michael Rogers of MichaelRogersWeather.com. You would think it's springtime with our weather forecast this week. What am I getting at? Well, temperatures are going to be on the mild side. Going to be in the 50s all week long. The rain on Wednesday, sun and clouds today, and also for tomorrow. It's going to be right around mid-50s. 57 is a pretty good number. 56 for tomorrow, and then you got rain, and temperatures are still going to remain in the 50s. But you're still in winter. You're almost to spring, but you're still in winter. So enjoy the weather, enjoy the day. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you very much, MichaelRogersWeather.com. Thank you. Oh, come on, give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And I'd like to talk to you and see exactly what some of your thoughts are about various subjects that we've talked about so far this morning. You know, we normally, and I want to say this before we take some of your calls, normally on Mondays, we have the Alliance Defending Freedom at 9:30, and that's what we expected this morning, but evidently due to the fact that it's President's Day, some of them in the office evidently took off, and we didn't have an attorney lined up to come on the program this morning, so thus we had a little bit of a change, excuse me, and had Jason Fillmore on our program representing the FFA. Thank you much. Gina, do you have any hot issues that we need to take care of this morning? I absolutely, for the next 12 minutes, I have nothing.
I don't have any hot issues. We do have some public service announcements that we could hit on if you want.
Well,
but yeah, I'm no hot issues as far as I'm concerned. Oh,
we have a caller. Oh my, saved us.
By the bell.
Saved by the Bell. It ought to be the name of a TV show. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Sam, it's Earl.
Yes, sir.
Here about a month ago, there was an article in the paper had to do with amalgamated sugar.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a dual fuel boiler out there that runs on either coal or natural gas.
Okay.
All right. And then I think they got two other boilers there that run on natural gas only.
Okay.
They're talking about taking out the dual fuel boiler and just going all the natural gas. In other words, putting all their eggs in one basket.
And you think that's wrong?
Right now, the dual fuel is either coal or natural gas.
Okay. Well,
I would like to hear some input from local people, farmers, etc., on how they think about this.
Okay.
Because if you get a break in a natural gas line or they're just shut off altogether,
mm-hmm.
that sugar factory goes down.
Let me ask you a question, Earl. And I know that you sit up there on the old mountaintop and you ponder all these things. But don't you, like me, think that what is happening to an honest legal company that has unlimited resources, unlimited availability of a product to warm us and create our electrical grid, etc., and I'm talking about the coal industry, don't you think it's absolutely not just shameful, but criminal the way this administration has basically buried them, never to come back to life again?
Yeah, it's more than that.
Well, then tell me about what is it?
I don't know how to really even say it. I mean,
in life in general, you don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Well, don't you agree with me that we are the richest coal country in the world? And with all the science and all the technocracy and everything that this country has, that they've got the scrubbers, the new scrubber situation and everything for the filters and everything else going into the atmosphere, that we're absolute idiots, and I'm going to say we are, for turning away a process with coal that right now we're sitting upon abundant resources that never probably in eternity will be used up. It's complete idiocy and a lack of leadership to destroy that company or that availability of energy for the world.
Well, this goes on in everything. We're selling off our reserves in this country.
That's right.
And I don't know what for. I mean, our minerals, copper, gold, silver, other nations coming in here mining us out, and essentially the same thing with the coal. I'm sure a lot of that's being shipped out of the country, too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I just think that for a country that has been blessed by God more so than anywhere else in the world for all of its natural assets, and to have these absolute buffoons take over office and retard us to wind and solar, that is a crime.
Yeah, I mean, I like myself having multiple energy sources around.
All right.
But what I would like to hear is some other comment other than my own coming in on this sugar factory issue.
Well, the format's open. The format is open. I'll do a commercial, and if anybody else wants to comment on that regarding a single source of energy versus more of a compilation of other sources, give us a call. Earl, God bless. Have a good day, sir.
You too.
All right, thank you. Don't forget, let's ride Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Oh, boy, that's where the fun is sold. I'm telling you, they got dirt bikes for the young at heart. They've got great rebates and good interest rates on ATVs. They've got ATVs on sale, and they also have the biggest selection of side-by-side Let's Ride ATVs in the state of Idaho. You stop in. Tomorrow, they're open Tuesdays through Saturdays, 9 to 6. At Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Absolutely where the fun is sold. All right, give us a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And Earl brought up a good question about limiting ourselves to one energy source. And look at the whole picture of energy and all the people that I've had on the air with the Institute for Energy Research back in Washington, whether it's Dan Kish or Ben Cole or whomever. We sit on an abundancy of energy, whether it's coal, whether it's oil, whether it's natural gas, whatever, and there is no excuse whatsoever for the idiocy and incompetency of an administration like this to try to channel our money, our tax dollars, into something that has been so wasteful and so absolutely far into the future because the technology's not here at all on solar and wind power. Why? Why? Why the waste of money? Why the waste of time when we have everything else that could propel us literally overnight into, again, being the strongest country in the world? It's a complete lack of leadership and not going to get better if the likes of Hillary Clinton does take over in 2016. Surely you must have some comments on that, Gina. You're way too quiet.
Actually, I was just reading up on it and what is going on over at Amalgamated Sugar.
Yeah.
Of course, I know a lot of people that do work over there. As a matter of fact, my neighbor does, and he actually works. He's one of the coal tenders. Is what he does, and so he makes sure that the coal, that the piles of coal don't actually ignite and start a fire and things. So that's what he does. And so I'm sitting here looking at the story, and according to this story, which was put out by the Times News back actually in January, the last month, exactly a month ago, and of course they're having to retrofit and move away from coal power. Because of the Department of Environmental Quality.
I think that's a crime.
I really do too. I think that, in case of an emergency, it's always nice to have those two energy sources. So, okay, you can mainly use natural gas, which, by the way, they will be moving to their full conversion in September.
Yeah, wait. Stop just a minute. I want your opinion on this. You're a young mom, and you've got to tell me and prove to me, the environmentalists can't, because I don't think they're even halfway smart enough. Tell me with all the scrubbers, tell me with all the technology, tell me with all the technocracy, tell me with all the new scientific breakthroughs, tell me with the EP overseeing, tell me that the coal industry has to be destroyed.
The coal industry does not have to be destroyed. They can make the industry cleaner and more effective.
That's right.
It doesn't have to be completely destroyed. I think that somebody is out to just destroy that particular industry because they want to.
Because it's an ideology of a president and his entourage that want everything as far as control, and America not self-reliant upon its own resources. We are blessed with more coal than any other country in the world, and it's going to sit there for all eternity because of the incompetency of the Democrats and Obama.
Well, and I think eventually, they can try and do away with it now, but technology will come out to make coal the most effective and efficient that it can be. And so I think that the technology is already there, but for whatever reason, it's just not come forth.
How do you go about,
or maybe watching it?
Real quick answer to this.
Sure.
How do you, once something has been condemned and vilified in the press, with the media, as coal has, how do you ever come back and all of a sudden let it emerge as a possible energy source that could be accepted by the American public? They have let the victim coal die, and now they're burying it.
Yep. And I say it will take generations, honestly. It would take generations for it to come back again and be considered, quote unquote, a viable source.
I know where there's not going to be an energy shortage.
Where's that?
At the 15th Annual Chili Cook-Off and Free Chili Feed, February 22nd at Magic Valley Tires with the Twists over in Paul, Smiling Max, and the rest of the crew. They are going to bring in some good chili, and there's no energy shortage. As a matter of fact, there might be a cloud over Paul that day. They're going to offer cash prizes for the top 3 chilies. Call Amber at 438-8444. It's going to be ripping fun on February 22nd. Don't miss it.
That was a great segue. I love that one.
I got to go. I mean, we have to leave for a few minutes.
Yes, we do.
Okay, see you in 6. I love those drums. Pop, 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 pop. Yes, sirree. Zeb Bell, along with my board operator, Gina Jameson, and Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Along with some of our great advertisers, which include Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Oberlin in Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service, get rid of your garbage. Call them at 734-6969. Hey, don't forget the Chadwick Sports Grill. Oh, what a great place to go eat. Absolutely. 139 West Main in Burley, and today's special is going to be so good. I love this. Beef stroganoff and all the trimmings. You better get on over there. Celebrate President's Day and treat yourself like a president. Stop into the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. They're waiting to serve you. Okay? Let's get on the phone line right now. And we haven't had this gentleman on the air yet during the legislative session, and I'm looking forward to visiting with him. Very, very nice man. State Representative Clark Kaufman from Filer. Good morning, Clark. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm great. Now that you're an old pro up at the legislative sessions, how are things going for this year, 2014?
Well, things seem to be cranking up pretty good. We're a lot of legislation coming and being discussed. Some new RF is being printed still, and trying to fine-tune legislation that we've been working on. You know, you bring something forward, and there's always fixes that need to be done, and so it's a busy day today. This afternoon I have a full committee hearing on the bill I brought forth started with last year, and had some things we needed to change on it. It's House Bill 453 that deals with enhanced penalties for felonies against abuse of elders.
Let me interrupt you right there, Clark. Let me ask you a question right there. Where did you see the need, or how did you get presented with the need that there needed to be more protection against our elderly? Why did you come up with that Bill 453?
Actually, it was a request from Twin Falls County Sheriff Tom Carter. He had dealt with some issues where he didn't think that the penalties were stiff enough for some of the crimes that have been committed and some of the convictions that were made. So he asked me to look into it, and that's where it started, and that's how we got here today.
All right. Well, now I'm really interested in this because I support you and what you're doing entirely. Because I think the elderly in our society, they're not only being picked on by criminals, but they're being abused. What do you hope happens if this bill goes through?
Well, a big part of the bill is just to heighten the public awareness, educate, and probably strengthen some advocacy, as well as serve as a deterrent to some extent. But, we've made a lot of strides in the past 10 years or so on child abuse awareness and protection, but we haven't done that with the elderly. And as more and more of us get to be elderly, there's going to be more people targeting elders for fraud and so on. So I think this bill, part of what it does is it enhances the penalty for a felony against an elderly person, not more than 10 years. The judge has discretion between 1 day and 10 years, and it is also filed as a separate charge. So it's not automatic charge. If the prosecutor deems it to be heinous enough that it deserves the enhancement, then it's a separate charge on top of a felony charge of abuse.
Now, Clark, let me ask you this question. One of the things that absolutely has been so abhorrent in our society is that within the last year, we've heard about punks in the larger cities, and now it's expanded across the country. Young punks going up and playing what's called a knockout game. And they'll go up, and when the person's not watching, they'll blindside them with a punch to the side of the head. And recently I read about a 76-year-old woman and an 80-year-old man that were hit and punched in that knockout game. I can't imagine a society that has no more respect for its elderly people than that. And I'm so glad that you're going to make more crimes heavier punishable for these kids and younger people that want to do crime and damage to elderly.
I agree. That's unacceptable.
Now, along with this bill, what are the chances right now that there's going to be any discussion against this bill? I think it's something that should slide through very easy. Are you also thinking that there won't be very much opposition to this?
Well, you never know where the alligators are going to jump up from. I think we had most of the objections that came up last year when we presented it have been answered, and that is the sentence side of the enhanced penalty, the wording that we used, not more than 10 years, so it gives the judge discretion there. That was a question that had come up. And then, let's see, what was the other one? I can't remember the other objection, but we did change some language to take care of that one. So
okay.
I think it'll have good support.
The one thing that in the newspaper article about this bill that really shocked me was, and I'll use this paragraph as a quote, it said, old people are more likely to be victimized by their own children or grandchildren, with old women having a higher chance of being victimized by one of their relatives. Good Lord, what kind of a society are we coming to where our kids, our grandkids are going to beat up on the elderly? This is pathetic.
Well, and it is, and we'll have testimony at the hearing today from people who deal with this on a daily basis, and that is often the case. I think they just get tired. They just get they don't have the skills to care for elderly, and it just overcomes them, and they become abusers.
Clark, well, I've got you on the phone this morning, and I wish you success with that Bill 453. I certainly hope it does pass. But I need to talk to you about the so-called ag-gag bill that's now in front of the House. Clark, my feelings as a livestock owner, and I've been in the livestock business all my life, and I know you're a farmer, and you've been also in farming and agriculture all your life. We need protection about these kooks and crackpots not having any respect for property rights and coming onto our property.
And yet, this bill, it's been labeled incorrectly, I think. It's called the Interference with Agricultural Protection, and it just goes through a list of things that you wouldn't let people on your land to do at any time, and if they come on without permission, under false pretenses, and target you, the extreme animal rights advocates, their goals are well stated in their literature, and it's not necessarily protecting animals. It's more to do away with animal and production agriculture as we know it today. So this bill gives us some protection, gives us some recourse if we are victims of this, and in terms of the Idaho Code 1953-04, which allows you to seek damages for if somebody financially ruins you by trying you for something in the media as opposed to the courts. You have some recourse with it. So I'm a co-sponsor of the bill, and I think it's a good bill.
All right. There was I'm sure you probably read in the Times News yesterday, an editorial piece that was written by a, quote, Nathan Runkle, and he is the founder and executive director for Mercy for Animals. It's offshoot of HSUS. And one of the paragraphs in there that I want to read to you and have you respond to, he said, quote, consumers have a right to see how their food is produced so they can make informed decisions. Right there, Clark, it doesn't make any difference if it's a dairy, if it's a sheep operation, a hog operation, or a horse training facility. There is still no right of just losing your privacy and also your private property rights to let these kooks and crackpots go wherever they want willy-nilly, trying to embarrass and shut down livestock operations.
I agree. It's just what's your motivation, If it's to do away with the industry, then you don't belong on my farm. If you really want to see where your food comes from, I'd be glad to show you if that's what your motivation really is.
Right. But now let's look at it from the other side of the coin. Do you think that by passing this bill, with all the kooks and the crackpots and the liberals out there around the United States and the unlimited resources they have to do their own little media blitz, do you think it's going to hurt the dairy and livestock industry in general, like we're trying to cover something up?
No, I don't. We're encouraging anybody that sees animal abuse to report it.
Yes.
And some of these films that they're using now that are very inflammatory are edited films of over 60 hours of filming. And if you watch the whole thing, it shows that the person doing the filming is actually one of the abusers and egging other people on to do the same. So in my mind, he should have been prosecuted right along with the ones that were fired. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, Clark, it doesn't make any difference if it's the dairy industry or the hog industry, the sheep industry, or even the horse industry with the training and everything else. As you are well aware of being in agriculture, and I'll use the horse industry as an example, if a horse needs a spanking so that either the horse or the rider are not injured, then so be the spanking. But if you took a video of that particular reprimand, they could edit that video down so that it's always going to look like animal abuse, and I don't want these people on private property doing things to distort the industry.
You got a very good point right there. Yep. I'm with you.
All right. Now, Clark, tell us what else are you involved in right now as we're midway through the session this year up there in Boise?
Well, I'll just name off a couple of things. We've got 4 different transportation funding bills that are floating around just to cause discussion. 505, 494, and 481 are the numbers. And there'll be another one introduced today to move some of the cigarette tax money maybe over to transportation. I'm working on some liquid natural gas definitions for have a diesel gallon equivalent for trucks that are using LNG. 4-H license plates are on today in the House.
Okay.
Are you still there?
Yes, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Memorial service on the floor today for past legislators that have passed away, and Idaho Cattlemen's Beef are serving lunch on the 4th floor today. So those are just some of the activities happening today.
Well, I want to compliment you on doing a good job, and I also want to say this publicly, that I called Clark not too long ago about a situation on the roads, and you talk about a man that jumped in with both feet and really helped us and helped solidify a solution to the problem. You are the man, so I have the utmost respect for you. Thank you very much, Representative Clark Kaufman.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to represent District 25. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Well, I just want to say, come back, don't make yourself a stranger, and go push that senior bill through so that can protect us old folks like I am now, okay?
We'll be on it. Yes, we will. Thank you.
Thank you, Clark. Appreciate it. Representative Clark Kaufman, District 25, on our program this morning. Thank you so much. Oh, let's see. Thank you very much. We've got a couple of good words, and then we'll take some more calls at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Every Thursday, I'm choking, that's why I had to turn the mic off. Every Thursday on this program, we have a program segment called School Days in Cassia County. And I've been blessed because we have 2 wonderful sponsors of School Days in Cassia County, and they are A Child's World at 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley, and the number to call, 878-8222. Now, this week, listen to me, starting today, they've got their 11th birthday sales celebration going on right now, all the way through this next weekend. And they're going to have daily drawings for gift certificates, and they're also going to be having drawings for staying at the Burley Marriott, which has been nominated as one of the best in the United States. And you can pop a balloon for a discount. They've got special spring items. Oh, my goodness, you better get into A Child's World today, 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley. Also, our thanks caller, I'll be right with you. Don't go away. Our thanks to Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Oh, my goodness, the Ambulatory Surgery Center always will give you outstanding professional care in a very friendly atmosphere and save you hundreds of dollars. Ask your doctor to perform your outpatient surgery right there at the Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, 677-8888. Both of those great businesses bringing you School Days in Cassia County. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Jen Zeb.
Sir.
I've got something I'd like to find out. If there's nothing wrong with the license plates, why are they taking and tell us we have to change them plates just so they get the money?
I can't answer that question, and I've often asked that myself. You know, my license plates are protected. They're in a plastic container. They're not dinged up, bent up, or dirty or anything. I don't know why. I can't answer that.
Well, I mean, somebody's going to have to find out, because I think it's nothing but a rip-off myself, because, like you say, yours are protected, so is mine, yet I'm going to have to replace that plate, which is perfectly good, when I get my new plates this month.
Now, don't they offer the possibility of an extension by paying more for that particular number?
No.
Okay, I thought they did.
Well, it doesn't say that on the deal, but I've had both these plates for good Lord since Nora was a puppy on a Nork, and it just, I think my personal opinion, they might come down on me like a ton of bricks, that's fine, but I think it's a rip-off, because why should we have to keep buying plates that are perfectly good shape? All you got to do is peel that sticker off and put the new one on.
Wouldn't it be, no, I'm just throwing this out because I'm not going to blow smoke like some talk show hosts that they say they know everything about anything, but wouldn't it be easier to keep the same plate as long as it's in good working condition and not all damaged and everything, and make it easier for identification purposes for the vehicle and the owner if they kept and maintained the same number?
Yes. That's the way it used to be. I don't know why they're changing it.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, I will tomorrow, probably this next month.
Well, I will. I'll give them a call, and I'll check with the licensing bureau, and I'll find out that information, and I'll get it on the air. But I've often wondered that myself, whether it's, what is it, 2 or 3 years, and then you have to get new plates, or what is the time period?
There's 1 to 4.
I see. Okay. Well,
just had one replaced a year or so ago.
Okay. Well, we'll check it out, and I'll find out for you.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Al. I don't know the answer to that. Anybody that does, wouldn't it make it a lot easier if, like Al Butler or Zeb Bell, and we kept and maintained our same number for our vehicles? Now, you might be able to change trucks or cars or whatever, but you'd still be assigned that number. And wouldn't it make it easier to have that same license plate number? I hear your microphone on.
Yes. And here's the skinny. I have done, I've got a license plate that I've had since I was in college.
Yeah.
And it's a Vandal license plate. And I've transferred it on 4 different vehicles now.
Okay.
And I did have to go and get a new license plate because the original one had the raised numbers, and now they want everything to have that, it's that digital kind of whatever kind of plate.
Okay.
And so they will send you a new plate with the same numbers on it, and you get to keep your old plates, but after a while they do want you to get new ones, but they'll have the same number, because I've had my Vandal license plate since 2002.
But most of the time, wouldn't you agree that most people, when they go down to the to renew their license, etc., that they're given a brand new set of plates and a brand new number?
They can have that, but they don't have to if they don't want to.
Okay.
Once you get a license plate number, that is your license for life.
Oh, for me? All mine?
Yes, all for you. And so, like my Vandal plates and things like that, when you sell a vehicle, you keep those license plates off that vehicle.
Okay.
But you can transfer those to another vehicle at any point in time. All you got to do is go up to the DMV and say, hey, I've got these license plates. They were on this vehicle. Now I'm going to transfer them over to this one, and they'll do that for you.
And, I would like to say to the person at Smith's Food parking lot that decided to keep backing and backing and backing, that didn't know come here from Sikkim or forward from reverse, that backed into the front of my pickup and smashed my license plate holder, there is a special place in eternity for you to go and be very warm.
What was this? What did your license plate holder say? Was it something special?
Well, it had a little rodeo deal on it and everything, but he kept back, and I tooted the horn. First a very small toot, and then a louder toot, and then a head out the window, stop, you idiot! And it didn't do any good.
Maybe they needed to turn their hearing aids up. I don't know.
Why is it that when people back out, and this is at the grocery store parking lot, they back out and they keep going back and back and back? There may be a point in time where the driver should say, maybe I should turn my wheel and then I can get out of the parking lot. But to keep backing up until you're in the other across the road and hit the front of my pickup and my license plate holder, I don't like you.
Okay, so you were in the vehicle, and this person obviously hit your truck, and they did not get out. They just kind of
drove away and left my nice little hangy license plate holder laying in different directions with cracked plastic, and I had all kinds of ideas about being nasty.
And let me ask you this. You didn't get their license plate number?
I was so mad. Honestly, I sat there trying to get out of the truck. And when you want to do something in a hurry, nothing happens right. So I open the door and I throw myself out of the truck only to be inhaled again by the truck because I forgot to take the seatbelt off. And this happened before I went in for surgery. And then you reach around and I was going to grab a crutch and I was going to run after the guy, and the other one fell on the ground and rolled halfway under the truck, and I'm going, rat-a-frats, rat-a-frats, rat-a-frats.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you because I can totally, while you're describing this, I can see it exactly happening in my mind. And you're just getting more frustrated, and more words are falling out of your mouth. And then the more things are happening that you can't do what you want to do. And it's just funny.
That's it. I mean, you nailed it because I'm sitting in my pickup waiting for my wife to get groceries, and I'm not bothering the world. For once, I'm as innocent as a newborn baby with clean diapers, and absolutely this guy backing up. Whoa! And I started yelling with the toot of the horn, and then, whoa, bang! And then he decides after he hits something, it might be time to turn the wheel. There's a genius for you.
Like I said, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you.
Okay. Hey, by the way, we have a birthday that we have to wish happy birthday.
Oh, we do? Okay.
A lovely lady. She absolutely is the queen of the North Side, known as the Queen of Hazleton, Nancy Hudig. Happy birthday. Here you go with the Beatles. We're not going to mention her age. We're not going to say anything except she's a very, very picturesque lady, and she's married to a guy that absolutely is so much older than her, Larry
Hudig.
Yeah. Today's your birthday, Nancy. Have a good one. There you go. Hey, guess what, Gina? Guess what?
What?
You know whose birthday it is tomorrow?
Deanne?
Yep.
Happy 29th birthday, Deanne.
She's going to have her birthday tomorrow, and we've got to figure out, we got to really play this up big. Now, she's listening in the other room, and she's getting madder by the minute, but tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, is Deanne's birthday. I want you all to call and wish her a happy birthday. And maybe we can get her over by a microphone and have her say something.
That would be a feat in and of itself.
Yeah,
that would
you're
be more
right.
like a birthday present to you.
There you go. I forgot about that.
Yes.
All right, I'll be back in 3. Don't go away.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Welcome back. Last half hour, Zeb at the Ranch, and I am very, very honored this half hour to devote the next 30 minutes to a segment on climate change, or Obamacare's idea of what climate change is, all of this to cover up what they're doing with Obamacare. We have with us a gentleman that is the managing editor of Environment and Climate News. I've really looked forward to having him on this program, and he's standing out in the middle of Lake Michigan right now, proving the fact that there is no global warming because Lake Michigan is all frozen over. Here is the one, the only, James Taylor. Good morning, sir.
Well, if he's standing out in the middle of Lake Michigan, that would be a complete explanation as to why I can't get a hold of him.
On either number?
On either number.
This is not good.
No. So I left a message. I'm going to continue to call back and see if we can get him, but as of right now.
Why is it in the radio business, especially today, when I was trying to be so prepared and have thousands of questions for my guests, everything has been thrown in the proverbial toilet bowl? Did you get him, Deanne? Oh, Deanne's working on getting him, too. She's going to work on it right now. But then all of a sudden, everything goes asunder.
Well, it's kind of revert back to the moment where that person hit your license plate. You know how you were trying to get out of your vehicle, but it just wasn't going to happen?
Yeah.
Kind of same thing.
Well, you know, it was one of those plastic holders, and it was really kind of neat. It was Letterbuck, Pendleton Roundup.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, a good friend of mine gave me those. And so this guy in this pickup just kept backing up with that big old trailer hitch, and I said to myself as I was sitting in my pickup about ready to see the Titanic plow into me, I said, sir, it might be about time to apply the brake. And then I honked at him and hollered at him, and none of which did any good. And so he just kept backing up, and all of a sudden evidently used me as an item to let him know that perhaps backing was enough, and then he drove away.
You were called the bumper guard. You know, you...
That's not exactly what I call it.
I was referring kind of a bowling reference, where somebody hits the bumper guard and so they don't go into the gutter. Kind of the same.
Have you ever noticed, though, seriously, and this brings up a topic for discussion this morning, people in parking lots are so careless. They'll throw the doors open and hit your pickup or your car, and they'll put their groceries in, and then they'll slam the doors, and then they'll take the grocery basket, we've talked about this, and slide it alongside your vehicle. I mean, they have the combined IQs of an angleworm.
Well, okay, so here's the deal with parking lots. They try to cram us in there like sardines anyway. And so if you have a larger vehicle or maybe even a truck or a van or what have you, and you're trying to pull in, well, of course, you feel like you're in a sardine can, and so you really can't open the doors, and so you've got to gently open up the doors and kind of slide on it.
Yeah.
And there's no way that you can get, like, a shopping cart actually in between. But how hard is it to walk said shopping cart to the shopping cart rack?
I can't believe it.
Therefore.
We've talked about this in the past with the laziness of people. And the other night, we've talked about people leaving the shopping carts by the vehicles and everything. So here comes this lady the other day out of the shopping area, and she is a very well-dressed lady, probably about 40 years old, high heels, looked like she was a secretary in an office or something, came over and put her groceries in the trunk of the vehicle, parked next to my truck, okay? And she turns around after she slams the hood on the car, and she just gives the shopping cart a push. Just lets it go. And it wasn't to the inside. It was to the outside where it was all these cars and traffic coming in up and down the lane. And it bounced off the bumper of a little kind of a Volkswagen, shot across the road and hit a pickup truck, a GMC pickup truck. And I thought, lady, you ought to be sued.
Did you yell at her? Did you roll
I rolled the window down, and she was one car away from me, and I said that was absolutely deplorable. And she, honestly, for a well-dressed lady, it surprised me. She gave me the signal for a fastball. I was expecting the curve, but she gave me the signal for a fastball.
And you were totally caught unawares, I'm sure.
It kind of backed my water up. I really was shocked there for a minute.
How hard is it to go and just put your shopping cart away? And when you open up your doors, you don't have to, throw them open so you hit the car next to you. Just kind of gently open them up. Because I have a white car, and so any vehicle that parks next to mine and their door touches my paint, they're going to leave a little piss mark on my car. And so I've got lots of little marks of different colors of paint on my white car.
Absolutely.
Because people are just throwing their doors open. You can do it gently. Just kind of slide it open and then slide yourself out. And then you can slam the door shut. I don't care, but just don't slam your door into my car.
Yeah, and here's the last complaint I got about shoppers at grocery stores. And mark my words, you've seen this. I know you have. You drive in to the parking lot to find a space, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, you're driving around. And here comes a couple of shopping carts, and maybe the man or the woman pushing it, and they look like rednecks that have escaped Arkansas, and they're pushing the cart down the middle of the road. Down the middle of the road. You can't drive around them. And it's as if to say, get out of my way, my shopping cart is worth more than your pickup.
You can always move to the side. I mean,
what's wrong with moving over and let traffic go through?
Yeah, I have no idea, because they know that pedestrians rule, and so that they're just going to take up as much room as they can, so you have to stop and wait for them. I always move over. If I know that a vehicle is coming, or even if not, I'm making a direct beeline over to where I'm out of the way, and so traffic can flow like it's supposed to, and I'm not blocking it up, but yet I can still get to my vehicle.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I mean, there's very polite people, and yet there's I tell you what, here comes a guy the other day. Deanne had to stop at the store for a few minutes, and I was not at that time driving. I was in the passenger seat in my pickup, and here comes a guy that had a very noticeable limp. and he goes all the way past my outfit, all the way up the line, and you could see that he was really having a hard time trying to walk and push that shopping cart and everything. He puts his groceries in the back of his pickup and walks all the way back down to the cart receptacle area and then all the way back up to his pickup. And I thought, there's a guy with a limp, has a handicap, didn't bother him, and then you take some gunsel that is completely physically all right, and they'll just bounce shopping carts off other cars.
Yeah. Or the people who could probably use a little bit of extra exercise but don't take advantage of the situation.
Amen. Amen. Oh, well, I feel so excited that we don't have our James Taylor. And Deanne's done her very best to try to reach him. And we haven't
had any luck yet either.
No luck. Yeah. Okay, we have the numbers, and there's been no response on the numbers you had either. We were going to talk.
Try again.
Okay, we were going to try global warming. I tell you what, let's play Michael Rogers' weather real quick, if you would, please. Weather update.
Hey, everybody. Michael Rogers of MichaelRogersWeather.com. You would think it was springtime with our weather forecast for this week. What am I getting at? Well, temperatures are going to be on the mild side. You're going to be in the 50s all week long. The rain on Wednesday, sun and clouds today, and also for tomorrow. It's going to be right around mid-50s. 57 is a pretty good number. 56 for tomorrow, and then you got rain, and temperatures are still going to remain in the 50s. But you're still in winter. You're almost to spring, but you're still in winter. So enjoy the weather, enjoy the day is the only weather you got.
All right. Thank you, Michael Rogers. Weather.com. Anybody that wants to call and give us your shopping parking lot experiences, give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm resorting to that right now. What'd you say?
I said I just tried again and no dice.
Oh, dear. Anyway, a little respect from everybody when they go into a shopping lot or whatever. Just please don't throw your doors open and hit the other person's pickup or car. They probably take care of it like I do. I don't want any scratches on my vehicle. Maybe you don't care what you drive. Maybe you don't care what it looks like. I do. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This is the second time today we've had problems with some of our guests. We'll try to find out why, but give us a little break. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, I want to remind you again that the Minnecasia Lincoln Day Luncheon is going to be on March 1st, Saturday, March 1st, at 2 p.m. at Maury's Steakhouse in Burley. Tickets can be purchased at the door for $25 each, or contact Chairman Gary Kos. Hope I said that right. Or is it Kos? Gary? Well, call Gary at 312-9374 from Minidoka County, or Chairman Wayne Hurst, 654-2037 for Cassia County. And I really want to say thanks to Elaine Stevenson for all she's done. That's coming up on Saturday, March 1st. Don't forget that. Minnecasia Lincoln Day Luncheon at Maury's Steakhouse at 2 p.m. No luck, huh, cowgirl?
No dice.
Yeah, it makes me feel kind of bad this morning.
Does it?
Yeah, you need some trees?
Sure.
You want to plant them in your yard?
I can do that.
Doreen McMurray sent me this note, and orders are now being taken for bare root seedling trees. Have you had that on the air?
No, I have not, but this is through the Soil Conservation District, isn't it?
Yeah. And they've got 11 varieties of seedlings available, deciduous, you didn't think I could say that, conifers and shrubs. Quantities are limited, pre-order to guarantee variety needed, and descriptions can be seen on the Soil and Water Conservation District offices in Burley and Rupert. Telephone number to call, 312-5789 or 312-0727. Did you know, Gina, that the shrubbery and all the trees on the west side of my house all came from the Doreen McMurray and the Soil and Water Conservation District?
Same as my lilac bushes that I have in my yard.
No.
Yes.
You've got lilac bushes from those good folks.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I bought them, I think, back in 2005 when we first moved in. I purchased a whole bunch, and some of them died off, but some of them have done very, very well.
Are you a green thumber like Deanne is in the summertime? I mean, she can't wait to get in the dirt with her wranglers and just sit there and dig and dig and dig and dig.
I am so ready for spring. As a matter of fact, I was going to ask if Deanna's actually started her starts yet, if she's doing her starts on the inside.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to that. You said starch?
Yeah, starts. You know, like you take the seeds and then you start them inside your starts.
Did I tell you about her Valentine's Day present?
No, what did you get her?
Oh, my gosh, that was quite a story. It's in my blog, my newsletter.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
But, you know, I got this great idea last Monday night. I knew that I'm not able to drive and go in and shop, so while she's outside with the dog, I quickly called a florist. And I said to the florist, "Do you deliver in Murtaugh?" The florist said no. I said, "Oh, well, I'm coming in to see a doctor on Thursday. Can you please have it made up and we will stop in and we'll present it to her?" "Yes, we will." So this is all going great. We go to town Thursday after the program. We make multiple stops, including the doctor's office, and after which she said, "I'm thirsty." So we whipped into the Golden Arches and got a drink, and she said, "Which way would you like me to go home?" I said, "Go a certain way," because I knew at that juncture that the florist shop was only a block off the road. So we drove, and I was sipping on my little Slurpee, and we got 25 miles out of Twin Falls when I remembered that we had not stopped to get her flowers.
So did you have to go back?
Well, and you know what hit me? All of a sudden, and I yelled, I can't tell you what I yelled, but I yelled a word, and it scared her half to death, and she about drove into 3 telephone posts and a mailbox that still had a Santa Claus on top of it, and she started screaming at me, "What are you yelling at me for? What are you yelling at me for?" And I said, "I forgot your Valentine's Day present." She said, "Well, don't yell at me like that." And she started yelling and screaming at me, and so finally she got back in the correct lane of traffic, and I told her, well, I said, "Now it's too late. We can't go back and get your flowers," but it all worked out okay. They stuck them in the cooler, and then the next day my daughter went and picked them up.
Just for once, I would like to be a fly on the wall when she is driving and you're in the passenger seat. Just for once.
Now, let me tell you something about that.
Oh, no, I already know.
You would go back to the other flies of flydom, and you would have enough copy for a book.
I'm sure that I would. We've got a phone call for
Okay,
you.
good. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hello? Gina, are you sure somebody's there?
Yeah. Okay, Skype caller. I know this is you, so go ahead and talk.
Talk. Go ahead. Good morning.
3, 2, 1. I'm going
Okay, yeah. You want to park?
I can't hear him. Oh, he's gone.
He's cutting. He's gone.
Cutting out, gone.
Yep.
More calls are welcome.
Skype.
Yeah, you know, that's the bad part of Skype. Anyway, I did finally get her Valentine's gift, but I'm holding right here in my hand, I'm holding her gift to me. And I'm going to turn it to the camera. Am I on your camera over there?
I'm pulling it up right now.
I'm going to hold this. Whoop! I got to figure out where to put it. I got to move it right there, and then move it closer, and then maybe I got to figure out which way to go with this thing. Oh, wrong way. Okay, back over here. There. Now, if you look real close, she makes all kinds of stuff upstairs. She made a great big Valentine's Day heart. And if you look in the middle of the heart, you will see a picture of her and I 42 years ago, just months after we got married.
Wow, that's actually very, very nice. And I like your shirt, too.
Oh, my shirt?
Your shirt.
That I got on right now?
Uh-huh.
It's a dead eagle.
I know.
I didn't dress up very good this morning.
I think this is the first time I've ever seen you wear a T-shirt on the webcam.
Well, it's not a T-shirt, it's a sweatshirt, and I forgot about the webcam being on today and everything, and so I didn't dress up to my fullest extent of being professional.
Well, that's okay. I won't hold it against you. We've got a phone call.
All right, we'll take it. Good morning, you're on the air.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I got a parking lot story.
Okay.
I was in Kmart's parking lot in my 62 Ford truck, and I was backing out, and as I was switching from reverse to first, some guy in a little car just
punched it and to zoom back out and hit me right in the bumper. And it smashed the whole one side of his car, blew out his back window, and it moved my bumper down about a quarter of an inch.
What was his hurry that he had to back up and hit you so hard while you're backing up?
He didn't look first.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you're living proof that there are some real maniacs inside of parking lots. I agree with you. Well, fortunately, you weren't injured. That's the main thing.
But I felt so sorry for him. I said, just take off. We don't need to call the cops if you don't want to.
Well, you're better natured than I am. I'll tell you what, I got his name and number and tried to get my coverage on that.
Well, it didn't hurt my truck.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now that you mention it.
I mean, it just destroyed his car.
Okay. All right. I understand. Well, listen, I'm glad you called me back. Good to hear from you. Thanks for your call. Appreciate it. You know, there are more accidents and more damage done in parking lots, and so many times, whether it's our car, whether it's my pickup, you know, people just don't seem to care. Be careful out there. People care about their vehicles and how they look and how they're taken care of. While I'm waiting for some more calls, which I hope I have, because I didn't get my call with my guest this hour, and I'm underneath this calm exterior, I am fuming right now. Don't forget your Founders Celebration with Les Schwab Tire Centers, and especially right here in the Magic Valley, all 7 locations. They have everything for you. They've got great special offers during the Founders Day celebration, like $50 off custom wheels when you buy a set of 4, and they've got great buys on passenger car tires and, of course, pickup and SUV tires, all the different tread designs. They've got it all for you. Don't forget to stop in and check out the great brake service, too. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline and Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All right, give me a jingle, 436-2244. Good morning, caller. Thank you for your call.
Hey, Zeb, you know, I've been skiing up at Soldier Mountain all my life, and, you know, they kind of, you know, when Bruce Willis owned it, it was kind of in limbo, and they've, you know, built on a new lodge, and I built onto the lodge this year because I wanted to, you know, contribute, and they got, over the last 7 days up there, they've gotten 50 inches.
Oh, my.
So it's compacted. But last year when we were up at Anderson Ranch Reservoir, which is just west of there, there was snow, you know, the water was very low during the 4th of July weekend, and I was just very, you know, I just wanted, you know, thank my, you know, wherever, Heavenly Father, wherever, the fact that we received the kind of snow up there and throughout the state of Idaho that we need to continue to give our land the moisture it needs, but also the ability for farmers and ranchers and all of us to be prosperous.
I couldn't agree more, and I certainly hope we get a lot more of it. But this last little weather forecast that we had last week helped us a lot. I know there's more snow and more rain in the forecast for this week, and maybe, just maybe, with a wet February and possibly a good spring, March and April, maybe we'll be all right with our water situation.
Well, it's supposed to start raining again tomorrow, and the way I understood it, and rain Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So, yeah, I'm very, I just, you know, if we don't appreciate what we've got, you know, there's a chance we may not get any more, you know, and, you know, not necessarily in a weather-related situation, but, you know, we still need to be grateful for what we have and the great people that live around this community. In the Manicotti area, there's so many smart businessmen and people that you are the clients of yours, and I do business with them too, and they're every bit as good as you say they are, and
absolutely.
And you know, we should be proud of ourselves here as a community.
We should be. I am, and I thank you for your call. Now, don't bump into my pickup.
Come on.
All right, see you later. Thanks, Randy. Let's take a look and see what we've got scheduled for tomorrow. And as you probably can ascertain, that's subject to people following through and being where they should be. Tomorrow on the program, we're going to be talking to Dr. Ilya Soman from George Mason University, and that's going to be coming up at 9:06. And then there was a story printed in the Capitol Press a week ago about a farm being shut down in California and the farmer being told to cease and desist. And Tony Francois from the Capitol Press is going to be on the air talking about that story. And then, of course, one of our very favorite people is going to be here tomorrow morning at 10:06, as always on Tuesdays. And that's, of course, Dr. History and his segment at 10:06. Don't miss that. And then a gentleman that wants to possibly run for the lieutenant governorship, Jim Chemlick, will be on at 10:30. But a very special day tomorrow, Gina. It's going to be Deanne's birthday, so we've got to really play it up big.
Okay, that means I'm going to have a gift waiting for her, so next time I see you guys, I will have a gift for her.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing you, and, of course, it's Deanne's birthday tomorrow, and I know she's going to give me a hard time for mentioning it on the radio, but she deserves so much credit for everything she does around here, so I just want to say thanks, dear, and happy birthday. Okay.
And he loves you.
I do.
Yes.
Well, listen, we'll try to figure out what happened to Dr. James Taylor with our global warming segment and try to reschedule him, hopefully, for another time this week. Okay. But I want to say to everybody, have a great day, and remember the way things were, the way things ought to be. Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, right here on K-Bar 1230 Radio, and then streaming live on the net, Zeb Bell, allovertheworld.com. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06. Have a good one. Thanks, Gina. Appreciate all your help.
You betcha.